Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Jim runs the household like a dictatorship.
I expect discipline and respect.
A father who thinks he knows best.
He says, I only strike them to get their attention, then that's okay.
It's ridiculous.
But does he?
You said you manage people in your family by intimidation.
Never started that way.
He would push us against the wall and raise his fist at us and say, bam, bam, bam.
Why you've allowed your insecurity to drive you to abuse these children.
It's not abuse. It's never been abuse.
It's abuse.
My wife makes me into a villain. It's heaped on me. I'm at the stage now where I'm pretty tired.
Let me ask you something, just father to father.
Yes.
If you're so smart, why is your family such a train wreck? Why is your son robbing people at gunpoint, hooked on heroin? This is happening on your watch.
I take my ownership. There's a whole whack of ownership there.
You're pathetic. A terrible father and a worse husband.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, 16-year-old Nick admits his drug problem had such a hold on him that he stole $75,000 in gold from his parents' safe and spent it all on drugs. But as we began peeling back the layers of this story, our investigation uncovered troubling accusations about Nick's father, Jim. Claims that immediately shifted our focus and needed to be delved into before we could even begin to deal with Nick and his addiction. Now, Nick's mother, Liz, and her daughter, Chloe, are convinced it is Jim's parenting philosophy based on intimidation and physical abuse that drove Nick to drugs. Take a look.
Jim runs the household like a dictatorship. It is his way or the highway. He wholeheartedly believes in anger, yelling, intimidation, and humiliation.
I expect discipline and respect. I intimidate so I don't have to get physical.
My children have had to endure verbal, emotional, and physical abuse. He would take his fingers and poke them in the stomach to knock the wind out of them, which brought them to their knees.
When my dad would get mad at us, he would push us against the wall and raise his fist at us and say, bam, bam, bam. He was trying to scare us and intimidate us. I was terrified that my dad was actually going to hit me in the face.
But my philosophy is, if you strike your child with the intention of hurting them, that's abuse. If you do it with the intention of getting their attention, then that's not. That's the approach that I've tried to use parenting.
Jim has been very hard on Nick.
My dad was constantly yelling at Nick. Sometimes he would get so angry, he'd start spitting, turning red, and coughing because he'd be yelling so loud and so hard.
When Nick was 4, Jim yelled at him so loud that he actually peed on himself. Jim would hold him up against the wall by his neck. Jim would hit Nick and justify it by saying he only used an open hand. He has been even more abusive to Chloe.
My dad has held me down by my hair and raised his arm and threatened to hit me with his fist. He would leave bruises. One time we were at the dinner table and my dad got so aggravated with me that he stabbed the back of my hand with a carving fork at the Christmas dinner table.
5 years ago, Jim was arrested for screaming at us that he was going to brutalize the entire family.
I was the one who called the police.
Jim was arrested for assaulting a child and 5 counts of uttering threats.
The absurdity in all of this is that my dad plays the victim and says that he's never done anything wrong.
Jim has traumatized the entire family.
My dad needs to get through his head that he is the root of our family problems.
Because of Jim's verbal, emotional, and physical abuse, my son is a drug addict.
Well, Liz admits that she failed Nick and daughter Chloe by not protecting them. But she says she just was terrified of her husband's emotional, verbal, and financial abuse and manipulation.
I have known Jim for 28 years. Jim constantly berates me. Jim often calls me a bitch and in front of the children and says that I'm nothing more than a car payment.
Liz lacks confidence, so Liz validates herself by being both a sex toy for me and by being the slave in the house.
If Jim doesn't like the tone of my voice or the way I respond to him, it is a huge trigger. He is constantly trying to control me. I have not worked out of the home for the past 19 years because Jim told me I didn't need to. And in the past, I had to show him receipts for everything, even if it was a pack of gum. Jim pays for everything, and if he cuts me off, I will not be able to survive. He's mean, he's angry.
You have to live in fear around my dad constantly.
I know there are many times I failed to protect my kids, but I am scared to death of him. If I speak out against Jim, he would lash out at me, and I don't know what we would do without his financial support. I have basically trained the children to watch out for any triggers in him just to keep the peace in the house. We don't know any other way to survive.
Okay, now you flew in separately from your husband and you haven't wanted to see him. Has that worked? Have you seen him?
I haven't seen him, but he's been texting me quite often.
Here are some excerpts of the text that he sent while you were in L.A. He says, 2 weeks ago, I was, and he makes a very explicit sexual reference here about what he was doing with you sexually. And you were begging for more, and now not a peep. So here's what's going to happen. I'm pulling out of the show. I never want to see any of you ever again. Your gold-digging Black Widow ways will be over. I better get a phone call within 5 minutes. Then Jim, to your daughter Chloe, says, are you part of this? It's bleeping broken with little chance of repair if she doesn't bleeping talk soon. Does he always threaten like this?
Always. It's constant.
That's just his way of managing.
Yep, that's his way.
He said in the tape, he admits that he intimidates. He says, I intimidate so I don't have to get physical. But he does get physical.
Yes, he does.
Is he selectively forgetting that?
I'm surprised that he actually admitted that to the show because 100% he denies it with us.
Denies what?
That he's ever hit the children. That he's abusive.
No, he said I intimidate so I don't have to get physical.
Okay, well, he does.
But he does get physical, right?
All the time, yep.
And he actually spoke about that, too. He says, as long as I don't strike them to hurt them, I only strike them to get their attention, then that's okay.
It's ridiculous.
You say he has a superiority complex.
He definitely does.
He thinks he's smarter than you.
All women.
You think he has a plan for today?
I know he does. He told us he does.
What's his plan?
He said he will destroy me on national television and that he has all the answers for Dr. Phil.
I understand that he rehearsed 6 hours last night.
Oh, really?
For today.
That sounds normal for him.
Yeah. What you're telling me here is that he's being abusive with you. He's being abusive with the kids. He thinks, in fact, that he's a loving, caring, giving individual. That's how he describes himself.
That's how he describes himself.
But if he comes out here and you say things that he doesn't want to hear, what's the reaction going to be as far as the way he treats you? Once you leave here, what's going to happen?
I'm really worried about that.
Well, so what's the plan? I mean, how are you going to be when he comes out here? Are you going to be honest? Are you going to be straightforward?
I'm going to be completely honest.
And then when you leave here, what's he likely to do? Is he going to...
He will immediately start texting me, harassing Chloe and I.
How long are you going to put up with this before you demand that he change or say enough's enough and too much is too much and this is too much?
I want it to happen today.
But last time he starved you out in 2 months. What's going to be different this time?
I just feel I'm in the right place this time, so hopefully it will work.
Well, you know, I'm about unifying families, and I hope I can get through to him. I hope he'll listen, because you have duties and responsibilities here as well. You're quite right. You've not protected your children, and failure to protect is neglect, and neglect is abuse. And you have a duty here, and you still have a 16-year-old in the mix here.
Yes.
Well, Jim is here. He says his wife is, and I quote, the world's lousiest parent, and, quote, a doormat who helped enable their son's deadly addiction. Well, we're going to meet him after the break.
My wife, she's more like a kid than she is an adult. She routinely does not hold the children accountable for anything they do. The children are in charge, and Liz is just a doormat. Liz has helped create Nick's drug addiction.
And later,
should we talk about your 2-year affair?
You are a pathetic human being, a terrible father, and a worse husband.
Well, Liz and Jim's teenage son, Nick, recently admitted to robbing strangers at gunpoint to get money for drugs. Jim says his wife, Liz, needs to finally take accountability for the role she played in creating their son's addiction.
My wife is the world's lousiest parent. The children are in charge, and Liz is just a doormat. She routinely will take a bullet when they do things wrong. Liz is more interested in being their best friend. I talk parenting with my wife hundreds of times about unified front, dealing with the children, but my wife just doesn't believe in that. She has baby brain. She's been at home with the kids for 19 years, and her emotional intelligence hasn't evolved, and so she's more like a kid than she is an adult. She routinely does not hold the children accountable for anything they do. Now I'm dealing with my wife's codependency on her children. I've asked her to go get a hobby so she can associate with other people, parented pretty much by myself. I try to be a role model for my children. I lead by example. I'm a very giving person. When I first met my wife, it was pretty much love at first sight. The first time we went out on a date, I could have nailed her that night. I asked her for a peck on the cheek. The next night we did the dirty deed. I've always treated her like a queen. I love my wife to pieces. I don't trust her. My wife has poisoned the children against me. When I was arrested, I definitely got railroaded. I found out that it was Chloe that called the police. Chloe thought that if she got rid of the golden goose, she could control the golden eggs. What a 13-year-old doesn't have the wisdom to know is if you get rid of the golden goose, he stops laying golden eggs. The Crown prosecutor said these charges are ridiculous, and he dropped all the charges. I later found out that my wife was actually involved in the arrest. Mom had let Chloe take 100% of the blame for sending me to jail. My wife makes me into a villain. It's heaped on me. I'm at the stage now where I'm pretty tired. If things don't change, I'm going to leave.
Well, Jim, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You say she is the lousiest parent in the world.
So we need to put context around that. I usually say there's 3 elements in any household where you've got a dual-parent family. There's nurturing, there's providing, and there's parenting. And I always say when I say that, my wife is the best nurturer on the planet. She takes care of us like nobody. I said, I'm the provider, and then when it comes to the parenting, she's the lousiest parent on the planet. And what that is she does not discipline, set limits, hold limits, and the kids walk over her like she's not even there.
I understand that you've worked out pretty much everything you want to say today.
My profession makes it so that I frame the situation. So I will go in my head and I will play through many different scenarios and have answers for each one.
We sat down to talk to Nick.
Okay.
He revealed why he hasn't been able to open up about you. Let's hear what he had to say.
Okay.
During my pre-interview, my dad was listening in on it, so I couldn't say any of the things about him that I wanted to say, or else he would have gotten extremely mad. He's already been a bit psychotic lately, so it would have driven him over the edge. I've requested that he not be in this room because I just don't know what his reaction will be. I have to go back to his hotel with him tonight, sleep in the same room with him, and honestly, last night I didn't even trust myself to go to sleep. I stayed awake most of the night. He's very scary. He's been talking about my mother disgustingly, talking about how she's a prostitute. I don't even want to go into all the things that he said, but they're horrible. He almost wrote a script of what he was going to say to Dr. Phil and to you guys, and he rehearsed it on me for about 6 hours, listening to him nonstop talking. He read about 90 pages of emails about disowning his children. I'm sure that he was pretending to be mild or calm. He tends to do that at work. Everybody loves him. He's this great, lovable guy, but then behind closed doors, the things he does to his family are absurd and disgusting.
OMG. This is not the story I've gotten from him. And by the way, he did his pre-interview in my bedroom. I stayed in the living room, and I didn't go anywhere near the bedroom to honor his privacy.
Well, that's not what he says.
Well, I know that's not what he says, but I'm just telling you that's what happened. Yeah. I did my interview in my bedroom, and he did his interview in my bedroom.
Well,
and
let me ask you something, just father to father.
Yes.
You say she's got baby brain, and...
So let's qualify that too, please.
No, I don't want to listen to all your... Just answer the question. No, seriously, I want to know, answer the question. If you're so smart, why is your son robbing people at gunpoint, ODing on opiates, hooked on heroin? This is happening on your watch.
Yes, so I'll say, after 5 years ago, I checked out.
So you quit?
I pretty much quit.
Because I'm worried about your son, seriously.
So am I.
I've been doing this for 45 years.
He's a miracle.
He's taken, by his count, 50 different drugs.
He told me that his mother has known about this for 2 years and done nothing about it. I've not been known about it because I was checked. I was hiding in my bedroom for 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's your job to know.
Well, it's my job to hide in my bedroom when I'm afraid of my family, which is what I did. I was afraid of my family for 2.5 years.
And he's been doing drugs the entire time he's been at your house for the last 2 weeks, and you're oblivious to it.
I have no... He does dabs. He does pot.
No, he's done everything.
How do you know?
Because he told me.
We have conversations back and forth.
Which proves you don't pay attention.
What I mean?
Because I can tell in a minute when he's high.
It's not abuse. Okay, so let me ask you some questions.
It's abuse.
Is my wife breaking wooden spoons over my son's ass abuse? He said you've done that a dozen times.
And later, you say your mother paid you $300 to lie to CPS.
Yeah. I had this big green bruise.
Where did the bruise come from?
It came from my dad.
Well, 16-year-old Nick says he's been using drugs since he was 10 years old. He says he's dealt drugs.
Yep.
He's stolen from the family. He's robbed people at gunpoint. We asked him what effect it was having on him, and he says his brain's not working right.
I went 2 weeks ago to get him an ID with him, and he had to sign his name, and he couldn't even say, he misspelled his name.
Yeah. So why do you think he's doing drugs?
Lots of reasons. The reason he told me is watching his dad get sent to jail.
We got to make a decision here.
Yep.
You're either here to play the cover your ass game, or you're here to seriously help this situation, and your son is at risk here. And I'm interested in what your agenda is.
So have you read the letters and stuff that I sent in?
I've read every word.
There's items I didn't know I was coming on a Dr. Phil show someday, and there's letters and stuff that I sent you that talked about me reflecting and introspecting on the mistakes I've made. Yes, correct.
Yeah, read it all. Leads me to ask one overwhelming question that kind of overarches the whole thing. Why are you so insecure?
I'm not insecure. In fact, let me qualify that too. Up until 5 years ago, there wasn't a mountain I couldn't climb. There wasn't a challenge I wouldn't accept. I was very successful in my business. That event happened, and it shattered me. It broke me.
So you are insecure?
With my family, absolutely.
You, by your own description, manage people in your family by intimidation.
Never starts that way, has never started that way.
Well, that's what you said.
No,
You said, and I'm sure you have a qualification and a couple of paragraphs about that, but you said, I manage by intimidation so I don't have to get physical.
At the end. So every incident that's ever happened, I go at it, this tone of voice. I sit down with the kids, I start talking to them, and every single time I scream out, honey, come here, I need you, come here. She has insecurities.
So you're a victim of your children.
I didn't say victim. She has insecurities from her life, where she was molested, that she is irrationally fear of conflict.
My questions for both of you are very thematic. For you, it's why you've neglected the children and failed to protect them. And for you, it's why you've allowed your insecurity to drive you to abuse these children.
It's not abuse. It's never been abuse.
Well, let me tell you something. I've been doing this for 45 years, and I am trained in forensic psychology. I've often worked as an officer of the court evaluating parental conduct.
Okay, so let me ask you some questions.
It's abuse.
Okay, is my wife breaking wooden spoons over my son's ass abuse?
Oh my God.
He said you've done that a dozen times.
A dozen?
Okay. If that's happening, it would be abuse. Absolutely.
Is my wife taking drug money from my son to pay for a credit card that she secretly got, and that her daughter, my stepdaughter, racked up to $9,000? She's whining and complaining about it. He pulls out a wad, $8,000, hands her some money, and she accepts it. It happened this spring. Your son told me that.
No, that never happened.
Yeah. How about not telling me about the gold being stolen?
But you don't raise your voice.
How about no? This is not raising my voice.
Okay. My attorney told me to take it because you lock the safe on me all the time. Whenever
I never locked. You had to.
You actually have.
You have the combination.
It started with your affair. And
you have the combination.
The safe when you had an affair.
You have the combination.
Because I was just going to run off with your money.
So should we talk about your 2-year affair? Should we talk about your 2-year affair?
Before we had children?
Doesn't matter.
It does actually matter.
You excuse it because we didn't have children.
It was long before we had children.
Actually, let's talk about this for a second.
You're pathetic.
When you were out...
You are a pathetic human being.
When you were
a terrible father and a worse husband.
Yeah. When you were
pathetic.
Yeah, why do you keep coming back? It was 3 weeks
I don't know.
It was 3 weeks. 2 years ago, within 3 weeks, you're coming saying, I want to come back. And you know what? I didn't let you come back.
That's
not
true.
The behavior of an abuser.
That's actually not true. You sent me over 300 texts in 2 weeks, and I didn't respond to a single one of them.
52. I filed them all with my lawyer.
Oh.
52 in 4 days.
Ridiculous.
We sent 52 in an hour. I sent 52. My lawyer was going to file perjury charges on you for lying.
Oh, I'm so sure he was.
This is the stuff we need to get. If you're really
Can I save us some time here?
Yes.
No matter how long you filibuster, I'm still going to ask the same question that I asked before you started the filibuster. Why are you so insecure? Did you tell her if you kill yourself, don't make a mess on the carpet?
No, I never said that. What's the context?
The context is she was going through a depression at the age of 13 and told us that.
Yeah, well, I was going through a depression at the age of 13, too.
Why are you so insecure?
My family makes me insecure.
Why?
Because I don't trust them.
Well, were you insecure when your son was 4 years old and you were screaming and yelling at him?
What happened was one time I was doing something and Nicholas interrupted me doing something and I barked at him and he peed his pants. And what happened was because he's not yelled at all the time, I shocked him and scared him.
That's your version.
No, that's not my version. That's his version, too.
That's your version.
He doesn't even remember the incident.
Do you poke these kids in the stomach with your fingers? Have you done that to get their attention?
Yes, a couple of times.
Yeah.
Not regularly, a couple of times.
Have you stood them against the wall and...
Stand in the corner?
And stood against the wall and acted like you were going to hit him with your fist?
No.
You haven't done that?
No.
Oh.
So this is the
listen, listen, if I need your help, I know right where you are.
So let me tell you, I know the situation. I'm
just asking, it's a yes or no question.
No, it's not a yes or no question.
Actually, it is. You can explain if it's a yes. If it's a no, we can move on.
So the answer is no.
Okay, we can move on then, because they're lying, and I'll let them explain that when I talk to them.
Can I explain the situation?
If it's no, there's nothing to explain.
Oh, yes, there is, because there was a situation.
So it's a yes?
No, there was a situation. There was an incident where Chloe had done something. I went into her bedroom to confront her about it, started off nice and calm, and then she got into my face and started screaming and yelling at me. Again, I called for my wife to come and help. She refused to come and help. And then Chloe she was acting like an adult, so what I did was I did grab her, held her, and I said to her, I said, if you're going to start acting like an adult, you're going to get treated like an adult. Stop doing this. She was like getting right in my face, this close, cussing, yelling, the whole nine. So the incident was a non-incident. Like, it was just like, Chloe, whatever you did, blah, blah, don't do it again. And she's very defensive. She's an attention seeker. She's been, from the age of 4 or 5, was identified as a control freak by her teacher. She was identified.
Did you tell her if you kill yourself, don't make a mess on the carpet?
No, I never said that. If I kill myself... If she kills herself?
Chloe, if you kill yourself, don't make a mess on the carpet.
I don't remember that, and I would never say something like that, but I don't remember that at all. Like, I don't even know what's the context.
The context is she was going through a depression at the age of 13 and told us that.
Yeah, well, I was going through a depression at the age of 13, too.
What?
Have you slammed Chloe to the ground?
Nope.
When she was 14?
Nope. Again, that's
Did you elbow her in the face when she was trying to intervene?
No, never. What are you saying yes for? That never happened.
Were you arrested on July 20th of 2014?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
And were you charged with getting
5 counts
physical
of uttering
and
threats.
making terroristic threats?
No, 5 counts of
that you
uttering
were going to
threats.
brutalize your family?
Yes, so let me tell you, and it's a statement. I tell this story to everyone, and I own up to what I did. Yeah, so the incident was 45 minutes long. 45 minutes long, where you sat on your perch and did nothing. Situation was, I was in the basement working out. My wife was upstairs doing her makeup. Kids were on the ground floor. Chloe went and hurt Nicholas. She grabbed him by the ears and yanked down and injured him. I didn't know about that. No one knew about that. Nick starts cussing on the main floor. I slowly came up the stairs, waiting for Mom to say something because...
Slowly came up the stairs.
Yes. You need to know the story because you still dream about it.
I was there.
No, you weren't there. You were up in the bedroom hiding behind doors.
No, I was actually there.
And so what happened was, actually, Nicholas had yelled, "Damn it!" Just as I got to the top of the stairs, you yell from behind closed doors, "Nicholas, watch your mouth." Nicholas turns around and says, "F you, Mom." That's when I came out the door, and I leaned over the island and I said, "Nicholas, watch your mouth. Don't talk to your mother like that."
Yeah,
that's fine. Swearing in our house happens. They were down in the basement.
You're exhausting.
And so I came out and I
All right, we're
defended...
going to take a break. Liz and Jim's daughter, Chloe, is here. She says not only does she agree with her mother that her father was abusive, she blames him for creating a reason for her brother to escape to drugs. Well, we're going to hear from her after the break, and then I've got some questions for you with regard to Chloe. I can't believe what she says you did. We'll be right back.
My dad was constantly humiliating me. He used to hit us with a closed fist. He believes he is more superior than God.
Well, happy President's Day. Before we get back to today's topic, I want to tell you about Friday's episode. And I want to warn you, this is a very serious story with several shocking allegations made by a woman to her father. Now, this woman claims to have been drugged and filmed while being violently attacked. And not just that, according to her, the film was sold for millions of dollars on the dark web. Now, when I heard about these allegations, I knew I had to really dig in and try to get to the truth of the matter, because this was serious. Take a look.
The rape occurred New Year's Day, 1988. I was 17 years old. My dad blindfolded me and brought me into the bedroom. He raped me. My father videotaped the rape. I believe that he has sold videos of my rape.
My dad did not rape my sister. My husband is not selling it on the internet.
I did not rape my daughter. And I most certainly didn't videotape it.
It is all ludicrous, crazy delusions.
Well, think about what this does to a family. I mean, here's a daughter, and she's accusing her own father of raping her, commercializing it, selling it. And this is a family of accomplished lawyers. All of them are lawyers. They're used to dealing with all kinds of disputes. But what happens when it's in your own family and you're accusing your own flesh and blood? It fractures the whole family. And for a man in the family, he's afraid to be around her because if he's around her, she can accuse him of anything. So he's not even comfortable being in the same room with her. We're going to try to get to the bottom of all of this, so you're going to have to tune in to find out. There are a lot of layers to this story. You don't want to miss it. That's this Friday. Okay, let's get back to today's topic.
I am a teacher. I coach, I mentor.
Jim believes he's a thoughtful, kind, generous person.
I help develop people. I've developed leaders.
That is so laughable because everything is the complete opposite.
Jim says he thrives as a coach and a mentor in his professional life, but his wife says that at home, he is very different. Now, something he says he feared she would also do today, paint him as a villain. Now, Liz and Jim's daughter, Chloe, says her father won't like to hear it, but his behavior towards her and her family, in her opinion, is abusive.
Growing up has definitely been a nightmare with my dad. He controls my mom, my brother, and I. When it came to discipline, my dad's methods were completely outrageous. He'd throw us outside in the middle of winter in the clothes that we were wearing. He wouldn't let us put shoes on. He did this so often that my brother and I actually built a fort under our trampoline with a rain barrel, and we hid couch cushions in it and non-perishable food items. If he wouldn't lock us outside, my dad would belt our doors together because the knobs were right beside each other. He was so aggressive, he was angry, he was always like ready to punch. Physical abuse from my dad has been extreme. He used to hit us with a closed fist. One time in the 5th grade, my teacher noticed a huge green bruise on my arm. Child Protective Services got involved after that, and I was actually paid $300 by my mom to keep quiet. My mom wouldn't stick up for us because there would be extreme retaliation and no one wanted to see her go down, so we just took the brunt of it. He had a very condescending attitude and would always talk down to me. My dad was constantly humiliating me. One time during a shift at work, my dad walked in and announced to all the customers, co-workers, and managers that he had cashed in my college fund because he was mad at me. I suffered with extreme depression for several years, and my dad told me one time that if I was to kill myself to not make a mess on his carpet. I couldn't believe that I was hearing that from my father, who brought me into this world. My dad lives in his own delusional world where he believes he is more superior than God.
Glad you're here. Yeah. Your father basically negates everything you're saying.
No, not everything.
He says that you're just a control freak and thrives on attention.
Yep.
It sounds like my dad. Mm-hmm. He loves to make excuses, loves to put the blame on everyone else, and no accountability whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Well, my hope...
I should bring the 20-minute audio tape I have of you.
He's not talking to you.
My hope today...
It doesn't matter. I should bring the 20-minute audio tape of you, of an interaction between us where it would make you not look so good.
Derogating your daughter is unbecoming to you.
You're right.
Tell me what your hope is for today.
I really hope that you can find some kind of positive outcome for our family. Definitely, I would love if you could help my brother. Like, he's my best friend, and I value his life way more than anyone else does, especially my dad. So I definitely want some kind of aid to him. I don't want his drug addiction to continue because he's just walking down a dark path, and I'm afraid that he's going to die.
You're the first one to make an adult comment since we've been here. Because I've listened to your dad badmouth you and your mother and your brother, and I haven't heard your mother or your father ask a question. Dr. Phil, is there a path that we can get Nick on to save his life? All I've heard is a bunch of venting and finger pointing and vitriol. And you're the first one to come out and say, I want help saving my brother's life.
Definitely.
In front of your kids, do you call your wife the word?
No.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
No, I call her my beauty queen since the day I met her.
Dr. Phil is trained in deception detection. Are you serious?
You say your mother paid you $300 to lie to CPS about what was going on in the home.
Yeah.
And why was that?
She was afraid of the outcome that was going to basically happen because of my dad. She was afraid of him, she was intimidated by him, and she didn't want to take the blame for everything that's happened as well. So I was given $300, and I had to tell the Child Protective Services agent at school the next day that it was my brother, who was in, I think, the 2nd grade at the time, that I had this big green bruise on my arm and that he did it.
Where did the bruise come from?
It came from my dad. And his excuse was that it was his flat knuckles and that flat knuckles don't hurt.
And taken out of context.
And he stabbed the back of your hand with a carving fork.
Yeah, at Christmas dinner. That was pretty bad. I don't know how you don't remember, because everyone remembers.
By the way, 5 years ago,
In front of your kids, do you call your wife word?
No.
What?
No.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
No,
he has.
I do not.
Yes, he does.
I call her my beauty queen since the day I met her.
Dr. Phil is trained in deception detection. Are you serious?
Well, here are some excerpts of texts that Jim sent Liz, his thoughts on women.
Not on women.
This is what you said. As long as you have a blank,
Yep.
you can get away with all manner of lies in our society. Yep. And what that asterisk there has 4 letters in it.
Yeah, but that's not calling her one. That says if you have one. And there's more text. You should actually put the whole text up, not just the 2 little bits.
This is what Nick reported. He said all kinds of stuff about you being a whore.
Yep.
You blank him for a new purse or shoes. Horrible, disgusting stuff I don't even want to say. Every hot girl we walk by, he talks about blank, blank, blank.
So I'm going to tell you that part there, I point him out to Nicholas and I say, Nicholas, she's a hottie for you, not for me.
He's 16.
He's 16 who's had sex with multiple girls.
He's 16.
And you let your daughter have sex at age 13 in our house, under my roof, against my wishes.
How
is that any different?
You were there too.
Okay,
yeah, sorry, you threatened to send me to jail if I did anything about it.
Okay, that's an excellent effort at deflection. However, if you could explain to me, saying that your wife is the lousiest parent in the world, could you explain to me your son saying he said all kinds of stuff about you, this is mother, being a whore?
Yeah, so I didn't use that word. Go check, there's not
You
one
called me a
swear word.
prostitute.
Yes.
And I've been married to you for 23 years.
Well,
tomato, tomato.
let me explain that.
Okay, no, don't explain it. Just tell me, do you believe that it's appropriate to be referring to a boy's mother as a prostitute?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, in the last few days, I've been trying to get closer to him because he's my son. So some of that stuff was buddy-buddy talk because he was buddy-buddying me.
What?
Oh.
Well,
okay.
no, it was because...
So it was you that was saying that her mistake is she wants to be more friends with the kids than a parent.
Yes.
And so you're saying this because you're buddying up to him, being his friend.
You got it. I stopped parenting 5 years ago. I was the parent for 13 years, and 5 years ago I stopped parenting.
Pot, meat, kettle.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm glad you said that's why I'm here. I want the kettle to know she's the kettle.
Well, he's only 16 and says there is not a drug he hasn't tried. But why does he think he started using drugs? Well, I'm talking about Nick. I'm going to ask him that after the break.
I've probably tried 50 different drugs. I've had sold drugs to kids at school, people on the street. I stole about $75,000 worth of gold from my dad. I've had to rob people at gunpoint, do anything I can basically just to obtain my next hit.
Will Jim look both his children in the eye and deny his alleged abuse and continue to play the victim? Plus, find out what Jim's son confesses about his father. You do not want to miss this. I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. I saw this post recently on my Facebook. Teresa Wildman asked, Dr. Phil, what's on your bucket list? Well, you know, there's a lot of things on my bucket list. I think the next thing I'm going to do is get type rated in a Gulfstream 4. You're shaking your head. Type rated in a Gulfstream 4 means certified to fly a Gulfstream 4 jet. I fly it, but I'm not certified, so I'm going to do it where I can do it by myself. You don't want to go with me by myself, do you? No. All right. No. That's going to take probably all summer to do, but that's on my bucket list. So we'll see if it happens. Thanks. We'll see you next time.
We got more videos of this boy for the show today.
Nico, you don't tell me.
Let me play, Kathy.
Who do you think you're talking to?
You're the one who's
making me even more mad, for sake. Leave me alone.
Nico.
Leave me the alone. I'm already pissed off enough.
Why?
Leave me the alone.
Nico, what is going on?
I don't want to talk about it.
What is going on that's making you like this?
Please leave me alone.
Who does she think she's talking to? This is a child, right?
Who's calling for Kathy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the tail wagging the dog here. You know, these people are living this so much that it starts to seem normal. This isn't normal.
Did you show them the text?
Yeah, they got impatient even on the plane. They missed their first flight.
Now the delay is 4:30. If it goes to 5, we're not coming. Well, so we're in charge of the airline schedules now? Why weren't they on the first flight?
Yeah. They were afraid to wake up their son too early.
We'd been playing video games 17 hours the day before. He was tired.
Who do they think is going to hire this child? Seriously.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to call this kid's bluff and give them a wake-up call. Don't say a word to them. I'll handle it.
Perfect. Got it.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a son's video game addiction
Leave me alone.
crosses the line.
Who do you think you're talking to? He gets what he wants by bullying us and terrorizing this house.
Nico has threatened to kill us.
Taking back control.
You're not going to school, so you're basically just sleeping, eating, playing video games.
Yeah. I have tried everything.
You're negotiating with your child to take a shower.
Well, I was kind of bargaining.
You're enabling the behavior. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, as you saw, I was just in my office talking to my team about this show. We've got parents who let a 14-year-old basically drop out of school so he has time to play video games 17 hours a day. Video games. Now, his mom even has to negotiate with him to take a shower. Now, mom blames dad, and dad blames the child. Take a look.
My 14-year-old son, Nico, is absolutely addicted to his video games.
Let me get the Shrika 6'9". Let me get the Shrik. No!
He'll be on this device for 17 hours a day sometimes. I try to get Nico off video games, tell him that he's limited. He can only have 5 hours a day, and his answer is, oh, that's not going to happen. And it's a fight. I asked you hours ago to clean up that mess. What's going on?
Now!
Nico is the most spoiled child.
Nico!
Get out!
Stop it!
Get out!
Get off.
Right the now!
Nico can get so angry, he will destroy everything in the house, anything in his path, anything that Nico can get his hands on will get destroyed.
What is my computer? He gets what he wants by bullying us and terrorizing this house. He'll pull his hair. Stop it, Nico. He'll start screaming if he's not on his devices. Nico, your mouth! I take him off the internet, and he immediately starts throwing things and breaking things, and it's cost us thousands of dollars replacing everything that he's broken. He'll bang his controller. If I don't give him what he wants, I'm gonna break this phone. Nico is not in school right now. He wants to be a YouTuber when he gets older, and he doesn't need school. I couldn't force Nico to get up and go. It was impossible. He's a very large child. I think Nico takes advantage of me more now because he knows that I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair, and there's not much I can do. He'll strike out and he'll hit me. Physically, I'm no match for him. He's a big kid, and I have one leg. There's not much I can do.
I feel our family is falling apart. We desperately need help to get everything back on track.
It's absolutely out of control, and I see it only getting worse.
I am about to break your nose like I did.
How did it get this way where we have a child running the house?
What do I do to stop it? I've taken things away. I've had my nose broken 3 times. I've taken him to doctors. I have tried everything.
Dad, what are you doing about this?
When he starts getting into a rage and getting violent, I go upstairs in my studio, my music room, to avoid it, because he winds up getting physical with me.
Well, Kathy says that she can't get Nico on a schedule and ends up acting like his maid. She also has a hard time getting him to do just what I call activities of daily living, things that just really are fundamental to just being a socialized human being. Take a look.
Nico begs and begs and begs to get what he wants.
Can I please just get 3.99 cents this was?
No, I shouldn't even have to bribe you to take a shower. I shouldn't have to pay you. But if you take one, I will allow you to get something. But you're taking your shower first. That way I know it gets done.
Can I get calf now?
No. Stop
It
banging.
will get done. God.
Nico, don't. It's very simple. Bang the phone again and I take it away from you. Take your shower.
Please. I can't.
Stop it, Nico.
Then just gonna let me.
Stop saying that, Nico.
No, I'm not gonna stop.
Stop saying that.
Whatever, Kathy.
There we go, calling me by my name. Keep it up with the disrespect, Nico, and you're gonna lose everything for the day. You're not getting anything until you do what you need to do, which is take a shower. I'll think about the 3.99 cents, but I'm not waiting until 4:30.
All right.
So in the end, I allowed him to get the small things that he wanted, and he's going to take a shower in 2 hours. It's now 3:45, and you promised me at 2:30 you would take a shower?
I forgot.
Well, I'm reminding you. Take a shower, and then
Mom,
you can
I'm
get
in
back
the middle
on.
of something. I can't right now. Please.
See, this is what happens every time. My thought process on that is...
Wait a second. Do you really want to spend time defending that? Because we
No,
only
I
have
wanted
so
to
much time.
explain it. I just wanted to explain
There
it.
is
I'm not
no
defending
explanation.
it.
I can save you some time. There is no explanation. You're negotiating with your child to take a shower.
Well, I was kind of bargaining, I consider it.
Do you understand you're enabling the behavior?
Absolutely.
You understand you're enabling the behavior?
Yes.
What time do you get home every day?
Around 6 o'clock.
And when do you go to bed?
8, because I'm exhausted by the end of the day.
So you're engaged an hour or two.
Right.
And you have it the other 22.
More, I don't sleep. I don't sleep. I'm an insomniac. If I get...
do the math. I said you have it the other 22.
20, yeah.
Are you oppositional as well? Do you argue with everything?
Yes, I do. I've been in the legal field for 38 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
and
sorry,
I can
I
win,
know.
so just don't bother.
I'm not trying to argue, Dr. Phil. I'm not. Please.
Yeah. So we're going to have to take a break. Coming up, Evo says he's a big sucker when it comes to his son and buys back devices that he's confiscated or smashed. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Get me!
Get off of me! Get off me! I have slapped Nico in the mouth, in the face for cursing at me. I've broken 2, 3 pairs of glasses.
The two of them are 2 peas in a pod.
And later, if we could unscrew the top of your head and look down inside while all that's going on, it would scare the hell out of us, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
I am my mother's sole caretaker.
Cheyenne cooks, cleans, changes her sheets, does her laundry.
But is mom?
Here she is on the couch, cane in place, covered up in a blanket, and you're waiting on her.
As sick as she says she is.
You're the one that said you hadn't been diagnosed officially. Let's just get to the point, okay? You're getting conned.
That's tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, they claim their mom is a pill-popping alcoholic.
Here's what they're complaining about. You mow the yard while you're foaming at the mouth. You strip naked at a 7th birthday party.
This is disgusting.
New Dr. Phil, Wednesday.
Nico has actually threatened to kill us.
This is one of my butcher knives. And not too long ago, Nico, in one of his rages, ran into the kitchen, grabbed this knife, and held it up to himself and threatened to kill himself. Thankfully, Evo was able to get the knife away from him, without causing any harm to himself. Because of Nico's threats, I no longer keep the knives up there. I have to keep them in this lockbox. So I put them all inside the lockbox. This is what I do every time I need to cook something. Lock it up, and then this comes in my room with me, so I can always keep an eye on it, and he can never get to them.
Okay, Kathy and her husband Evo say their 14-year-old son Nico learned his behavior from what's going on inside their home and not from playing violent video games 17 hours a day. Take a look at what they had to say.
Get out!
Get off.
Right the now!
Nico's behavior is absolutely learned behavior.
Leave me alone!
Evo has shown him how to do this by the way he acts.
Give me my back!
Get off me.
When Evo's angry at me, he'll get very disrespectful. The two of them are two peas in a pod.
I have slapped Nico in the mouth, in the face, for cursing at me.
Evo, show what a maniac you are.
I slapped him and accidentally hit the glasses and broke them. I've broken 2, 3 pairs of them. We had to go buy new ones. I'm very ashamed of it.
The same tone of voice that Nico uses, Evo has used on me.
Are you a dumbass or something?
I want to give you an analogy here. There's something in the world of psychology called the prison experiment. And it was done by Dr. Zimbardo. And in this prison study, Dr. Zimbardo just took a group of students and just randomly said, okay, you guys are going to be guards and you guys are going to be prisoners. They just went down to the basement of the psychology building and they said, okay, this is going to be the prison and these rooms are going to be the cells and you're going to run it just like a prison. And within a matter of a half a day, they had to suspend the experiment because the guards became so brutal and so abusive that it was getting out of control. And the prisoners became so immersed in the prison role, and it became a famous experiment that's never been able to be repeated in 50 years because it became so real so fast.
Wow.
They were isolated, like on an island down there, just like you guys are in your home.
At home.
So, you know, I'm looking at this, and I say, well, all right, let's see where this child's living. He's living in the prison experiment. You have self-esteem so low.
Don't have any.
It can't get any lower, you can't fall off the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just so down about yourself, and then you've got two men in your life that remind you of it every day. They tell you how worthless you are, how unimpactful you are, how disrespectful they can be to you.
Whoa. I never tell her she's worthless. She's not.
Uh-oh, you're in trouble now.
She's recording you! Dad, you better not hit me. She's recording you.
Okay, keep running your mouth. Go ahead.
She's recording you.
I don't
You'll
care.
get arrested.
Run your mouth.
Get out!
Leave him alone.
And later, at what point did you give yourself permission to speak to your parents in a disrespectful way? Well, there had to be some point at which you said it's okay to scream bombs at my mother or father, or tell my father, I'm going to stab you tonight. You were telling me how you don't tell her she's worthless.
I never say worthless.
Fat bitch, but not worthless.
I speak before I think. That's my problem.
We didn't ask what the order was. You were saying, I don't demean her. I don't tell her she's worthless. But you do call her a fat bitch.
When I get mad, I don't think, and it just comes out.
Would that be a yes?
Yes.
Okay. But you want to play semantics with me that you don't tell her she's worthless. You just tell her she's a fat bitch. You're drawing a line of distinction there. Are we playing word games here, or you
No,
really think that's different?
Absolutely not. Like I told you, I speak before I think. Do I regret it afterwards? Absolutely. Do I mean it? Absolutely not.
It's kind of like if you back out of the driveway and run over my foot, the fact that you didn't mean it, my foot feels the same.
Right.
And then if you do it again tomorrow, my foot feels even worse. And then if you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day, then two things happen. Number one, my foot's feeling really bad.
Right.
And two, I'm beginning to wonder if this is really an accident. Take a look at how Evo reacts to being taunted by Nico.
Get away from me! Get away! She's recording you! Dad, you better not hit me. She's recording you.
I don't care. Okay, keep running your mouth.
Want me to?
Go ahead.
She's recording you.
I don't
You'll
care.
get arrested.
Run your mouth. Run it. Run it.
Get out! Get out. Stab you.
Leave him alone. Get out of the room.
Stab you tonight!
Get out of the room.
I want him out of this house.
No!
Call the state
Get out
police.
of the room.
I want him out.
Get out
Shut
of
up,
the room.
Evo!
You. I want you dead by the time I get home.
Hey, Evo, show what a maniac you are.
Oh, my fucking stomach. It hurts my fucking stomach.
Show what a maniac you are.
Yeah. Try me after you get on camera.
I'm gonna try you.
You know what? Yeah.
Give me this. You hold on to that.
Got my other one. Dumbass. What do you do on camera? Huh?
All this is
Give
gone.
me my backpack! Give
All
me
of this is
my
gone. Get off of me. Get off me.
Ow!
Get off of me.
I still got my hand!
Don't you slap anything out of my hand.
You know what? Both of you. I'm leaving. I'm so ashamed by seeing this.
I can't imagine why this kid's spinning out of control. And, you know, if we could unscrew the top of your head and look down inside while all that's going on, it would scare the hell out of us, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm one of those people that looks past anger and rage, and behind it is hurt, fear, and frustration. What I'm seeing there is a lot of pain. You're expressing it in anger, because angry people have the attitude to get them before they get me. But anger's nothing more than an outward manifestation of hurt, fear, and frustration. And I think you're experiencing all three. What are you so angry about?
I was raised, I saw a lot of violence when I was young. I've seen people getting hands crushed in vices for stealing.
Who crushed whose hand in vices?
Somebody robbed from my father. My father did it.
And how old were you?
Probably about Nico's age, 13, 14. I've seen a lot of violence, stuff I should not have seen.
Yeah, it's interesting what people grow up with. And it leaves a mark, does it not?
I am physically, emotionally scarred, horribly. And seeing this, it's killing me.
Do you think I know what I'm doing?
Absolutely. This is an eye-opener for us, for our family.
Well, speaking of family, we're going to meet the 14-year-old teen who is controlling this house and hear what he has to say next.
I feel like I'm addicted to video games. I broke this controller by throwing it across the room because I was angry. When my dad gets angry, he tends to throw some of my stuff and hit me.
Get out. Stab you.
Leave him alone. Get out of the room.
Stab you tonight!
It hurts a lot and it bothers me.
I have an anger problem. I lose my temper, kind of like blackout. I pass out probably in the beginning. I get so enraged.
Get off of me!
Get off me. I guess my body can't handle it anymore, and then I hit the floor.
Evo.
It could range. I've been out 30 minutes for 45 minutes.
Are you okay?
I have no memory of what happens when I pass out. I don't even remember hitting the floor. Kathy has told me that when I was passed out on the floor, Nico would say to her, he's on the floor again, without a care in the world.
Now, Kathy and her husband, Evo, are both perplexed about why Evo's passing out. Kathy says their teenage son, Nico, also doesn't remember how severely his rages are afterwards.
Yes, I feel like I'm addicted to video games.
On a typical day of my life, I wake up around 9 or 10, so I eat, go on my devices, talk to my friends. I stay in here playing games and stuff about 13 or 14 hours every day. I don't really exercise. I don't hang out with friends outside or anything. I don't play sports. I mainly play video games till I go to bed, and my bedtime is like 11 o'clock at night. I don't want to go to school because it's just boring.
Why? Don't raise your hand at me. Don't raise your hand to me.
Then get the
Don't throw anything at my face.
My fits of rage.
No.
They just keep like pushing me as in saying, get off, Nico, take a break, blah, blah, blah.
If you don't leave me alone, I swear to God.
If they keep bugging me, I would blow up.
I don't want it!
I need to know.
I'm a second away from throwing this right at your face.
I broke this controller by throwing it across the room because I was angry. The main thing I get mad with my mom about is not letting me stay on my devices. My relationship with my dad, it's not too well. We fight about me not getting on my devices.
Okay, keep running your mouth. Go ahead. I don't care. Run your mouth.
Because sometimes he explodes and hit me on the head and stuff. When my dad gets angry, he tends to throw some of my stuff and hit me.
Get out. Stab you.
Leave him alone. Get out of the room.
Stab you tonight!
It hurts a lot and it bothers me. He hits me on my face. Sometimes he breaks my glasses because he slaps them off my head.
You and start hitting back.
Give me my
Get off me. Get off me.
I plan to get a job when I'm older. I don't know what I would do, to be honest. I'm excited to meet Dr. Phil. I would ask him how I can change my anger.
What do you think makes you as angry as you get?
I honestly don't know.
When you're screaming at her and yelling at moms and threatening to smash her in the face with your controller, how do you feel afterwards?
Feel really bad about it.
This is Nico's gaming anger. Let's take a look at this.
Nico, you don't tell me.
Let me play, Kathy.
Who do you think you're talking to?
You're the one who's making me even more mad for sake. Leave me alone.
Nico.
Leave me the alone. I'm already pissed off enough,
Why?
Kathy. Leave me the alone.
Nico, what is going on?
I don't want to talk about it.
What is going on that's making you like this?
Right in your face. Leave me alone.
At what point did you give yourself permission to speak to your parents in a disrespectful way?
I don't even remember.
Well, there had to be some point at which you said it's okay to scream bombs at my mother or father, or tell my father, I'm going to stab you tonight.
I don't even remember how long it was that I started that.
Mm-hmm. How you doing in school?
Somewhat good.
He's supposed to have in-home instruction, which a teacher comes to the house 3 hours a day for 3 days a week, and that has become too much for him to do.
You sent her away because he was asleep instead of waking him up.
No, we tried to wake him up. I get hit if I go near him and try to wake him up.
You've written into me 5 times.
Yes.
And when I read the letters, you said, we are desperate. But then when we answered and said, okay, I agree, it's desperate, so we're going to come here, you missed your first flight because you didn't want to wake him up.
No, we missed our first flight because I was going through security and they didn't have a female officer to come and pat me down because I can't walk through the metal detectors.
Well, I'll talk to our driver because our driver said you wanted to leave a half an hour later because you didn't want to wake up Nico.
No, I never
Because you're
said
afraid you were going to get hit, I guess. And then I got a text message shown to me from the tarmac saying you've been sitting there and it's 4:30, and if it goes another half hour, that you're just not coming.
We were just tired, we were frustrated.
When I found that out, I was like, turn them around. Hell, send them home. If they don't want to be here, they don't want to be here. I don't run the airlines.
No, I know that, but...
But what?
We got up at 3:30 that morning. We didn't get the first flight because what I explained. Then we sat around for 4 hours on standby. When we got to standby, they said, sorry, there are no seats. You got to wait another 4 hours.
There were seats, by the way. They just weren't together.
Yes, I couldn't leave Nico alone.
Can't leave him alone.
He could not sit alone. You see his behavior. He would have hit someone.
You can't ride on an airliner by yourself?
I told them I could, but they didn't believe me.
I know he couldn't.
We're just overprotective with him because, God forbid, he starts up on a plane and then you get one of the marshals that are on that plane and arresting him, the both of us are going because I'm going to stand up for my son. You don't touch my son. This is how I am, Dr. Phil. This is how...
Well, you choose a behavior, you choose the consequences.
Right.
Coming up, Kathy says Nico has charged over $4,000 on her credit card for gaming tokens and faces zero consequences. I'm wondering why. We'll talk about that when we come back. I'm from Texas, and there's a checkout time of 18. How are you going to get by when you're out there and you don't have any skill set? You don't have a high school diploma?
I fight with this in my head every day, worrying about him later on in life. It kills me.
I don't want it!
When Nico gets really angry at me, instead of him calling me Mom, he'll say, all right, Kathy, enough, Kathy.
Let me play, Kathy!
Because he's trying to exert his power over me, like calling me by my first name. What's going on?
I swear to
He seems to think that he's going to get what he wants by bullying me that way. I think it's very disrespectful.
I swear to God, Kathy.
What would have to happen for there to be peace in your house, from your standpoint?
I don't know, just probably just letting me play my video games whenever I want.
So you wouldn't be expected to do any chores, you wouldn't be expected to go to school and get an education. You just want to be rolled up in a blanket playing a video game.
No, not just playing, but I would do school and stuff.
Well, you're not doing that.
Thank you.
You're not doing that, though, right?
No, not often, but
So why would you start doing it all of a sudden?
I don't know.
So at this point, you're not going to school, so you're basically just playing your video games, sleeping, eating, playing video games, sleeping, eating, playing video games. Okay, so I'm from Texas, and there's a checkout time of 18. You know, when you turn 18, you just check out, on your own. How are you going to get by when you're out there and you don't have any skill set?
I don't know.
You don't have a high school diploma. You don't have any particular skills. How are you going to pay your bills and live?
I don't know.
Do you think you might want to think about that?
Yeah.
Dr. Phil, I fight with this in my head every day, worrying about him later on in life. It kills me. Because right now, the way he's going, he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Because y'all have a parental duty. I mean, you have a parental duty, and your parental duty is very clear. It's to prepare a child for the next level of life and to live independently. That's what parents' job is. And so if the next level of life is to live independently, which means they've got to make enough money to pay rent and utilities and food and all, and you're not doing that, then you're failing your duty as a parent.
I know that.
And it doesn't mean they have to like it. It just means that they have to do it. And you've got a terrible momentum going on here. I tell you what, we're going to have some adult conversation after the break here. So I'm going to let Nico, I'm sure it'll break his heart, but we're going to let him go back where he was. Coming up, Kathy says she's a great parent because her older son is a model child. We're going to hear from him next and see what he thinks is going on with Nico as well. We'll be right back.
This is Nico's container of medicines that he's currently taking. He's got hydroxyzine, clonidine, Latuda, guanfacine, trazodone, and he takes melatonin as well to help him sleep at night, which doesn't work. Then we have yet to find one or any combination that actually works.
Well, Evo says his son Nico is treated like a guinea pig by doctors. Kathy says she hasn't been happy with any of the treatment her son has received locally. At this point, based on where he is, nothing that you've done, no combination of things that y'all have done have worked, right?
Right.
Because he's worse now than he was this time last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he's getting bigger. He's getting stronger. I'm getting older. I'm getting weaker, frailer. I can't tussle with this boy anymore.
Well, Kathy's older son, Tyler, says both his mom and stepfather, Evo, contribute to the dysfunction in this home, and he's joining us now via Polycom. So, Tyler, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You've been listening to everything we've been talking about, right?
Yep.
So, I've said that I feel like they need to kind of hit the reset button on everything, forget what they think they know, forget what they think is causation, and be willing to consider a whole new set of circumstances here. But I'm curious what you think, and I'm not asking you to be a professional here, I'm just asking you based on your experience and having been around, what you think is going on here.
I think that there's just a lack of respect throughout the house entirely. Nobody really seems to have any sort of respect for each other.
So this is just dysfunction, wall to wall, 7 days a week, and this child's just in a quagmire of dysfunction. True?
True.
How do you get along with Nico?
We don't have the greatest relationship. Whenever I come to visit, we talk a bit. I don't really talk to him too often, like on the phone or anything, but I try to reach out to him when I can.
Mm-hmm. If this continues the way it is, with Evo's rage and anger and Nico's disrespect for both of them and Kathy's really being beat down in the way that she is, where do you think this is headed?
I think that Nico's going to wind up having to be in some sort of home, I think. I don't think that they'll be able to keep taking care of him the way that things are going.
Yeah, well, I'm one of those that believes when you get into something that is this dysfunctional from this many angles, you have to do what I call shake it up to break it up. And that means you can't just go in and kind of cherry pick. You pull him out, he's the squeaky wheel. Right. But we can take him out and do A, B, C, and D, and then put him right back in the situation. It won't be 72 hours before all the triggers that were there start getting pulled again, and you're right back in the same situation that you are now. Right. But I do have a plan. And the plan is multi-sided and multi-layered. And I think you are going to be shocked at what I think needs to happen here. We'll be right back. This home is so dysfunctional at this point that this problem is over y'all's pay grade. I don't think all the best intentions in the world, I don't think either one of you or the two of you collectively can solve this problem on your own. I've asked a very good friend of mine that I have great respect for to be here in the audience today, and that's Shane Gallagher. Shane is the executive director of Wingate Wilderness Therapy. Shane, you guys can help him, true?
Oh, absolutely. You could say that Nico needs a device detox. So he will absolutely be detoxed, not just from, he won't have access to electronics, but the mind patterns are going to be changed because he's going to be in a natural environment. So circadian rhythms, all of these things that a growing boy actually needs, he's just going to get in a very natural way.
Look, this is up to you. And if you've got questions, then you can ask them. But my plan is this. He goes there from here today. I don't have a bit of problem telling him this, but he needs to hear you two, shoulder to shoulder, make a responsible parenting decision and tell him, we've made a decision as your parents, and this is where you're going. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Second thing that needs to happen, I'm going to highly recommend that you fly into Dallas, Texas, and go to the P&P Center. I've talked to Dr. Frank Lawless, and we need to do a serious neurological workup on you and find out why you're having these episodes. It's not normal for you to just be losing consciousness.
Right.
We need to get a baseline and find out what's going on with you. And this is the premier diagnostic center in the country, in my opinion. With you, I highly recommend that you allow yourself to go to a trauma-based center called Onsite, just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, Onsite is the worldwide leader in intensive workshops and treatment specializing in those that have been through emotional trauma. And I think it'll be the greatest gift you ever give yourself in your entire life. And because if we do this with Nico and we don't do what we need to do with the two of you, there's no point in doing anything with him. We have to change this family across the board. So I am bringing heavy resources on all three fronts to realign this family.
I have one concern financially, keeping my house. If I'm there, I'm the only one who works. I support the house.
But if I were you, I would live in a box under a bridge before I would go back to what I was doing.
It's going to kill me to get
I know. We have to do this. We have no choice.
Okay, do we have a plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frank.
I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Shane Gallagher from Wingate Wilderness Therapy. A special thanks to Miles Adcox and Onsite for offering their help, and special thanks to Dr. Frank Lawless and the P&P Center. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. One of my Facebook followers had a very relevant question to me. Tammy asked if an 8-year-old should have a cell phone. You can see from today's show, adding devices to young lives is not always the best idea. But there's a point at which you have to balance out safety versus them getting over-involved. At some point, it gives you the ability for them to reach out to you at any time and for you to reach them at any time. 8, little too early. Stay social. Keep asking me questions on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You never know. I just might answer yours next. We'll see you next time.
Doing this for 2 years. When he gets either enraged or stressed, he goes unconscious. Can you hear me, Evo? Can you talk? Evo? Dr. Phil has given us an amazing gift we could never hope to achieve. You're going to be going to this facility where you're going to have an amazing time. You just don't know it yet. You're going to be out in nature.
Wait, so I'm going away?
You're going to go with these people to this facility. You're going to get off your devices and stop relying on them and start enjoying life again. I love you, baby. Oh, come closer. I love you so much, you know that, right? And I'm going to talk to you soon.
Are we going now?
Yeah. I love you, buddy. Don't ever forget that.
Bye, buddy.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Pretty woman walking down the street.
I've been an escort for 20 years. My clients come to my house. I don't know what's next for me, and it's scary.
A wife's dangerous line of work.
You're completely okay with her doing what she does?
Yeah, we needed her income to pay our bills.
You have no empathy, no remorse at all.
You have been traumatized. For you to settle for that is not okay. You need to stand up for yourself here. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, just like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, Jessica was working as a dancer to make ends meet when she met Jerry, who she thought was her knight in shining armor.
Mercy.
She says she felt like she was starring in her very own romantic comedy and that her Prince Charming would whisk her away so she would never have to work again. Well, sadly, unlike a Hollywood movie, there was no happy ending. Turns out Jerry was not rich. And flash forward 27 years later, Jessica is still keeping company with men for money. Now, if you're thinking Jessica's job as an escort is the reason this couple says they're here today, surprisingly, you would be wrong, because Jerry says he's just fine with his wife being with men for money. The problem, according to Jessica, is that Jerry is a pathological liar and a cheat. Take a look.
When I first met Jerry, I was a stripper, and he was a married man. It was love at first sight for me.
I went to the club to look, not to meet somebody to fall in love with. Our relationship was fairly intense. It was exciting, and I got divorced and left my wife.
It felt like the movie Pretty Woman, except he was not rich. Shortly after we got married, I began working as an escort.
I have no problem with her profession. It's not an issue in our relationship. I'm just not a jealous person. Things were pretty good for a long time, and we had a great relationship. I guess decided in the more recent past it wasn't all that she hoped it would be.
My husband, Jerry, is not present emotionally. My husband is a psychopath, a pathological liar, and definitely a narcissist.
I'm not trying to make you angry. I'm trying to understand.
No, you're trying to be a smartass.
No.
Right now, he repulses me. I don't trust him. I didn't realize that he had a problem looking at other women on a regular basis. I thought he was only looking at me.
I used to go to strip clubs on occasion, watch pornography behind her back.
He supposedly quit watching porn 2 years ago, but I still have my suspicions that he still watches it.
I haven't lied to you for the last 2 years.
Yes, you have. The last time I caught him a lie was 2 months ago when he told me he hadn't seen his ex-girlfriend.
I didn't tell Jessica about it because she wouldn't have allowed me to go. I think that part of her concerns is from insecurity.
I've cut Jerry in lies throughout our marriage. What makes me feel he's lying is my gut instinct.
She still doesn't believe me. Maybe the damage has already been done.
Last month, I filed for divorce from Jerry. I feel very much like a piece of furniture in my house. I feel unwanted. You can't live your whole life in misery.
Okay, let's be real clear here. Define escort for me.
I am an escort. I have sex with gentlemen for a living. That's what I do.
Okay, so that's a prostitute.
Yes.
Okay, so you meet these men where?
My house.
They come to see you?
Yes.
At your home?
Yes, they do.
In your marriage bed?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're 100% fine with this?
I am. And it's her choice. I don't control what she does. I never have. She started doing this after we met, but before we got married. And I am not jealous, and that is not the story here.
Well, you don't decide what the story is. The story is up to the two of you and what's going on between you. So you kind of describe this life from your point of view. So let's take a look at what you had to say.
I'm an escort. He's supposed to be here in about half an hour. So I'm just trying to get my makeup on and look right so that I'm ready when he gets here. My clients come to my house. I charge anywhere between $200 and $350 an hour. I see 1 or 2 clients a day. My husband is not home when I see a client. Jerry is at his job. I work during the days.
I'm always gone when she sees a client. She does what she does to make a living. That's her choice. I don't dictate what she does or what she doesn't do.
My clientele is mainly businessmen and professionals. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. Most of them are regulars. I take a queen-size sheet and cover my bed before each client. I take my shower and do my hair and makeup. They leave my donation in an envelope on my dresser. Then they go back into their life. I go back into mine, and Jerry comes home. We don't really talk about it. It's just normal life.
No, it's not. You say it's just normal life. You know there's nothing normal about that, right?
No, I've done it for so long, Dr. Phil, that to me it is normal.
Okay, that's normal for you.
Right.
But you understand that's not statistically normal.
Yes, I understand.
I have questions at 2 levels here that has to do with how your relationship is where it is. One level of question is, why that's okay with him, but the other question is why this is okay with you, that this has become your occupation. And then the other is how you feel about it being okay with the man that supposedly is your knight in shining armor. He was supposed to take you away from all this, right?
No, we never made an agreement he would take me away from all this. That was never an agreement.
Did you marry him with the expectation that you would be doing this 27 years later?
No.
So you didn't expect to continue to be doing this, so your expectations have been violated.
Well, I guess in some way, yes, you could say that, yes.
I did say that.
Yeah, I know.
So, but I'm saying, what do you say to yourself? You got into this many years ago, and now you're where you were back then, and nothing has changed in that regard. Is that okay with you? Are you disappointed in that?
I'm very disappointed in that. It hurts very much. It hurts me very deep down inside. It kills me.
Okay, and you're interested in my input as to whether or not you should leave this situation, whether you should divorce Jerry or try to fix this situation.
Yes,
right?
That's true, but I also want to know, if he's a narcissist, if he's got sociopathic or psychopathic tendencies, because this all plays into a realm. I've done research on it. It all plays into a realm of why men behave a certain way.
And Dr. Google has defined for you what narcissism is, and you think that he's a candidate.
Oh.
And you're asking because you say, I don't want to depend on Dr. Google. I want some input.
I want some input from somebody that actually knows.
Right.
Not Dr. Google, somebody that knows.
Right. And you're saying that there's zero trust left in this relationship.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Okay. Is there zero trust from your end?
No.
Okay, so you trust her.
I do.
But she doesn't trust you.
Absolutely not.
She thinks you're still playing games on the internet, contacting women, looking at pornography, engaging at least on the internet, if not in the real world. She's suspicious of that.
She accuses me of it all the time.
Okay. And does that surprise you?
No, I mean, obviously, some of my past behavior has caused me to deserve that kind of distrust.
Well, that's where the relationship started, right? You were married with children, right?
Yes.
And you met him when he was married with children.
Yes.
So this relationship started with cheating.
Correct. Not on my part.
Oh, no, it did. You were involved in this. You were involved with a married man with children.
No.
He cheated on somebody to be with you.
Not my problem, not my wife.
Oh, it is your problem, because if they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you.
I have heard that.
And so
I have heard that.
That's got to be in the back of your mind. That's the problem. All right, we have to take a break. Jessica says she is so convinced Jerry is lying to her that she even made him take a lie detector test. We're going to find out if he passed after the break. If you're happy with him and want to go home with him and tell yourself everything's okay, then you don't need to be here.
No, everything's not
I'm telling you,
okay.
what you know is what he did.
Right.
And now you're saying, I wonder if he's doing that again. And later...
Point to me one girl that's 23 years old that's going to want you to come rescue them. They don't want you because you know what? They don't want you. And you wonder why I don't sleep with you. It got so bad last year, I finally just had him take a polygraph test because I was so stressed out. I wanted to know if he was cheating on me or watching porn.
I was more than happy to take the polygraph. I had nothing to hide. All the questions were sex-related. Either have you been to a strip club in the last 10 years? Have you watched porn?
I learned that a sociopath or a psychopath can easily pass a lie detector test.
I passed the lie detector test. Jessica thought the results were bogus, so even though I passed the lie detector test, it didn't have any positive effect on our relationship.
Okay, Jessica says her husband, Jerry, is an uncaring, unsympathetic psychopath who doesn't give a damn about her well-being. She says when she almost died, her husband immediately left the hospital to walk the dog and watch pornography. Now, you almost died how?
I got an infection, and the doctor told me when he admitted me to the hospital that if I would have been an hour late, I could have died.
Yeah.
So I was in IV antibiotics inpatient for 4 days.
Okay. And you say he just left.
Not just. I mean, once I got admitted, got comfortable in the bed, then he had to go home and feed the dogs. But he didn't need to go home and watch porn.
And how do you know he did?
Because he told me.
That's charming. So you told her you're in the hospital, so I'm home watching porn?
It was later.
Didn't go down quite like that. I went home and fed the dogs, and while they were eating, before I had to let them out, yeah, I got on my computer.
And
watched porn.
Okay. Now, you asked him to take a polygraph test. How did you choose your polygraph examiner?
She chose him.
You picked him?
Yeah, just found some guy in L.A. He didn't cost a lot.
Yeah, well, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, it was what we could afford.
Uh-huh.
So I just had to go with what I could afford.
And I've taken all the name and identifying information off of this polygraph examiner because, you know, I've been very involved in law enforcement most of my career, and I work with polygraph examiners in criminal environments and here with Dr. Phil. And I think this costs like less than $200,
yes.
What you did. When we do polygraph examinations here, they're not part of anything we do here. They go off and do it, no cameras, no nothing. They go off and do it. And it's usually around $2,000 or $3,000.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of science involved. And in order to get any kind of reliability, it's best to do what's called a one-issue test. Here, there were 8 questions asked of different content. Have you had sexual contact with anyone but your wife in the past 10 years? You answered no. Have you been in a strip club in the past 6 years? Completely different issue. No. Have you viewed inappropriate images of women online in the past year? A third issue. No. Do you prefer young women? No. Fourth issue. Do you find your wife sexually attractive? Yes. Fifth issue. Do you gawk at young women on a regular basis? No. Sixth issue, do you regularly fantasize about other women while having sex with your wife? No. Seventh issue, do you have secret email accounts? No. That's eighth issue.
They just told me to write down the questions I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Guess you threw your money away on that one, huh?
Yeah. And that's I'm not saying that's your fault. I mean, you didn't, she picked it, not you.
I did what she asked me to do. I told the truth, and those are the answers. I'd be happy to do it again with somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know that you told the truth or you didn't. I would have no confidence in that whatsoever. I mean, this violated the basic rules of examination, in my opinion.
I appreciate that.
But you said that not my problem when you said, I said he was married with children. You said, not my problem. And I said, yes, it is your problem.
Right.
It is your problem because what do you know about him for sure? You know about him for sure that he will make a commitment to someone, he will bring children into the world, he will stand in the role as a father and turn around and walk away from them based on somebody he met in a strip club.
Well, I know he can't make children because he had a vasectomy.
But
yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I totally get it. I do.
You can be passive-aggressive all you want.
I'm not being passive-aggressive.
Yes, you are. You're doing yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. No matter what I say, you say yeah, but, yeah, but. If you're happy with him and want to go home with him and tell yourself everything's okay, then you don't need to be here.
No, everything's not okay.
I'm telling you what you know is what he did.
Right.
And now you're saying, I wonder if he's doing that again.
Right.
And the best predictor of future behavior is relevant past behavior. That's why it is your problem. Okay, well, next, Jessica says Jerry's indifference to her constantly makes her feel old, ugly, and fat. And she says she now refuses to go out in public with him because she knows he will check out younger women. Is that true? We'll talk about that after the break.
I believe Jerry may have cheated on me more than once. Jerry used to lie to me. He used to tell me he was at a meeting or work, and he was actually at a strip club. You're going off and spending time with another young woman, another 23-year-old? Is that the magic number? Because when he met me, I was 23. Jerry seems to like to look at women that are mostly half my age.
I didn't realize that it was disrespectful to notice other women. I thought it was biological.
One time we were at a grocery store. This blonde, attractive woman went past us. He started knocking other people over to get to her. A couple months ago, Jerry was looking at a woman. I apologized to the young woman. I said, I'm sorry, my husband's a 62-year-old pervert.
Which was extremely humiliating to me. She made a scene over it.
Well, Jerry claims he does not care that his wife is what they call an escort, or that she brings clients into their home, into their bedroom, into their bed. On the other hand, he says his wife is furious at him because she is 100% convinced that he is constantly trying to cheat on her.
Jerry has cheated on me. It was with an escort when he was on a business trip. I believe Jerry may have cheated on me more than once. I believe there may have been other times that he's just hiding and lying about. Jerry used to lie to me. He used to tell me he was at a meeting or work, and he was actually at a strip club. I was working, doing what I was doing, and he was going off to a strip club when he's supposed to be working.
There was one girl at a club that I saw several times over a period of 3 or 4 months, but we never were intimate.
You're going off and spending time with another young woman, another 23-year-old, when you're 47? Is that the magic number? Because when he met me, I was 23.
She gave me private dances. We did kiss, and I enjoyed her company and her companionship.
Jerry stole $1,200 of my money to go see this girl. When I met Jerry at the strip club I was working at, he gave me $10. So why this girl deserved $1,200? Now, Jerry has found a way to connect with young girls by connecting with them on a business networking site. I logged into his account, and I saw all these women's profiles, and I started going through them, and they had nothing to do with his business at all. I ended up deleting 300 people. They were all young and good-looking.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second, but you say that you're completely okay with her doing what she does. In fact, you've actually said that you needed for her to do it.
I've never forced her to do it. I never encouraged her to make that career choice. I only have, I did say that there have been times where, yeah, we needed her income to pay our bills.
You said, I'm not a jealous person. I don't care that she's an escort. I have not lived up to being her knight in shining armor. We couldn't pay bills and support the family without her. And your income is up and down, so you're saying you've needed this.
Correct.
That's the whole point here.
We needed to have two incomes. Where they came from didn't really, wasn't the determining factor. But yeah, there were times when we needed to have two incomes.
And you know that she wanted to quit after rapes and abuse, but it was just not always financially possible.
She's never expressed a strong desire to me to quit.
Okay. How many times have you been raped?
Total 7.
7 times? There's a lot of research about women that work in this industry. The homicide rate for what they call sex workers, you know, prostitutes, escorts, whatever label you want to use, the homicide rate is 51 times higher than normal for the general population, 51 times higher. The mortality rate, not just homicide, but just death, is 240 times higher. 75% of escorts attempted suicide, and they're 4.5 times more likely to try it. 70 to 95% are physically assaulted. 60 to 75% have been raped, some 8 to 10 times a year.
I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that.
You're part of that statistic.
No, I understand.
That's really my biggest question on how you would allow the woman that you say you love to be in such a high-risk situation, aside from whether you're jealous or not jealous, why it would be okay with you for your wife to be in such a high-risk environment.
I would love for her to get out of the business. The couple of times that we've lived in areas where she didn't have opportunity to work, she missed it. You know, I don't encourage her to do this kind of work. I would love for her to find a way out of it. 2 of the times that she was raped was when she was working with the police department as a confidential informant, and they set her up. It had nothing to do with her business.
Well, is Jessica hyper-focused on Jerry's lying justified? I mean, does she have reason, or is it just a deflection from the fact that they've never had a truly intimate and meaningful connection because of everything that surrounds this? We'll talk about that after the break.
I have not slept with him in 4 months. I refuse. I can't do it. But he thinks that some younger chicks don't want him. No, they don't want you. I have been the main provider for this family for 17 out of 22 years, and he didn't mind living off my money when I was making it. One time I came down with mono. I was sick for 18 months. There was times when we'd go out in public and I'd have to use a wheelchair. And I kept working because I had to support my family. I feel like Jerry has stopped me from getting education because I've had to work so much. I tried. I did an anatomy class, and I watched my videotapes in my hotel room in between clients. And I took my midterm, and I got a D. I feel like I have 10 years, 15 at the most, to escort. I'm 50 years old. I'm aging out of this business, and I don't know what's next for me. And it's scary.
You say you're 50, and
I'm 50, yes.
And you say you figure you've got at most 10 or 15 years left.
Yes.
So you think you'll be doing this when you're 65?
If I can't change things up, yeah. I mean, there's girls out there that are.
Are you being more hypersensitive to what he's doing or not doing because you feel like you're aging out, that you're less competitive with the 23-year-olds that he's looking at?
Not at all. I've had problems with him.
Even when you were 25, 6, or 7?
Yeah.
So this has been true all along.
He's always needed extra. Extra this, extra that. It doesn't matter. He's always needed someone extra in his life.
Then why do you continue to use age as a reason for our problems?
Because at your age, at 62, there ain't, you point to me one girl in this audience or outside somewhere that's 23 years old that's going to want you to come rescue them.
I have no expectation that that's going to happen.
But that's what you look at. You look at these little girls and you think they're going to come want to be with you, Big Daddy. They don't.
No, it has.
They don't want you.
It has.
They don't want you.
It has nothing to do with that.
They don't want you. Okay, this could be the new catchphrase. They don't want you. Because you know what? They don't want you. And you wonder why I don't sleep with you. I have not slept with him in 4 months. I refuse. I can't do it. But he thinks that some younger chicks gonna want him. No, they don't want you.
Why do you think you don't want him?
Because, you know, I feel ugly. My self-esteem has been broken for so long. I have PTSD. My feelings about myself have been broken for so many years. I don't even know who I am anymore. You know, I want to feel like a human when I'm having intimate moments, not like a blow-up doll.
You've said something that has made the most sense to me since you got here, because you really can't have self-esteem and self-worth and do what you're allowing yourself to do. And it bothers me that you're willing to accept someone that supposedly is your partner in life who's okay with you doing that, who's okay with you being in a high-risk situation, who's okay with you bringing other men into your marriage bed and having intimate relations with them. That, to me, the fact that you're willing to accept that tells me that your personal truth is so damaged that you believe that that's exactly what you deserve.
I don't know how we got to this point, because I wrote in asking for help to find out what's going on with him, and it's being turned all around on me.
No, it's not being turned around on you. What you're saying is, what is he doing? And I'm telling you what he's doing. He is allowing you to be put in a high-risk situation. He's allowing you to be defiled by men. He's allowing you to do things that are not in your best interest and being very smug about it the entire time.
How was I supposed to take care of my young family? What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do? You know, to take care of them.
Besides what you're doing?
I was a dancer. That's what I did. And dancing leads to this. It's a road. It's a map of your future.
It's 2020 right now. You wrote to me in 2009.
I know.
And in 2009, April 1st, you said, I am really struggling. I'm a sex worker. I am a normal person, fairly. I'm married and I want out of this business, but I have no training. I'm addicted to this work because I have no way out. Please help. I hate sex. I don't want to, but I do want a chance at a normal life. Help. So you knew 11 years ago that you didn't want to do this.
Yeah. I just had a client push me around my house. You know, what the hell gives him the right?
Nothing gives him the right.
Exactly.
And you have to be willing to claim the right that you don't deserve that you're not going to accept that, and that you're not going to accept mental, emotional abuse from anybody in this world, and you're not going to settle for someone that doesn't treat you with dignity and respect. And you're asking me if I think this is a healthy, normal relationship with a healthy, normal partner. The answer is capital N-O. No, this is not a healthy relationship. No. Do I think that he is trustworthy and that you can rely on him to tell you the truth and do the right things? No, I don't. I don't think he's telling you the truth now.
Don't.
No, I don't.
Can you explain that to me?
I will after the break.
My wife had been threatening to file for divorce for a while. Never know with her if it's a threat or a promise. And so she finally filed papers. My reaction was to grab her and hold her and hug her and kiss her because I wanted to show her that I love her. She thought that was weird. I don't want to get a divorce. And maybe I'm foolish, but I still remember how things were when they were better. My hope is that we can be happy and grow old together.
I say you're being very smug for just the reason what you just said. She says she filed for divorce, and I didn't know whether that was a threat or a promise.
I truly didn't know. She loves drama. She thrives on drama. The filing may have been something to push to push to see if she could get a different answer than the truth.
Yeah. You know, that's a very smug response, in my opinion.
I don't know what smug responses are. I don't know what that means. I don't understand that.
Smug response means that he's being condescending. He's saying, you want a divorce? Yeah, whatever. You know, I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe that's better, maybe it's not, whatever.
He says whatever.
Only because that's what it's come to. Not because I don't care. You know that I care. You know that I don't want. You don't?
I don't know that you care. I've told you that. I've told you that. You have no empathy at all. You have no remorse at all.
I'm sorry that you don't know.
You're sorry that I don't know.
I am. Pardon me?
That's the other things you say to me. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you don't like that I do this. I'm sorry you this, that. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
And you've been accepting that for years and years and years. The appropriate response would be, I'm sorry I haven't done a better job of showing you that. That's not okay. For you to settle for that is not okay. You need to be your own best friend. You need to stand up for yourself here. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to do what your husband should have done all along the way, and that is to lead you out of this quagmire and into the light. You know, when you've been through what you've been through, it changes who you are inside, and you need help with that. You need to be healed with that. You have been traumatized, and nobody has ever helped you to heal those wounds. And she has been raped time and time again. And you say, well, twice was because she was working with the police. Well, how about the other 5 times?
Yeah, but that was a really bad one. That was really corrupt.
That's not the point.
Okay.
That's not the point.
All right. I mean, that just was really something.
You know, you actually said the words that time, yeah, but. Those were the really bad ones. Like, there are 5 not really bad rapes?
No, it was so corrupt because it's police. You're supposed to be able to trust the police. You're supposed to be able to trust those people when you're working for them, and then they send people out to rape you. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong with this. So what's to be done here? I have very specific thoughts about this after the break.
This business can be dangerous. Over the past 20 years, I've been raped a few times by clients. I had a client try to smother me with pillows, and I kicked him in the chest and threw his clothes out in the hallway of the hotel, and he left. Another time, I had a client throw me against the wall.
I know that my wife has had a lot of trauma throughout her life. She's never really dealt with that, PTSD. So I'm not sure how much of our issues are her past traumas speaking, or if it's how she really feels about things that are going on between her and I.
I see just flashing red signs all around you that suggest to me that you have been seriously traumatized, and as a result, you have a very damaged personal truth, and we generate the results in life we think we deserve. And you apparently think you deserve the results that you've generated in your life, which is to be an escort, to put up with being treated the way you're treated. because you're really damaged. And unless that's healed, you will never require more in your life than what you're getting right now. That needs to be healed. Do I think he's being transparent and honest with you? No, I don't.
But why?
Because you don't require it. You don't require it. And then you say, I'm going to file for divorce. He says, well, maybe that's a gift. Maybe is that a promise? Is that a threat? And then when you actually stand up for yourself, then he love bombs you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, he did. He love bombed me immediately.
He just smothers you, and he's all of a sudden, he's all over you.
Yeah, he did. That's true. He did love bomb me when that happened. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did I know that? I mean, it's the way you do.
You're the expert.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I am. And you have a very cavalier attitude about this whole thing, and I don't believe a woman with self-respect or self-esteem would settle for that. Can he give more? Maybe he can if he was required more.
But how do you, I mean, I don't want to sound stupid. I just said, I was a kid when I met him. I don't know how to require more.
Well, you have to learn to be your own best friend, and you need healing. And you got into this marriage based on deception. You have behaved deceptively while you've been in this marriage, correct?
Yes, I have.
So he got in through deception. He has behaved with deception. You have perceived deception and just decided to go along with it.
Can he be helped?
Of course. I'm an incurable optimist.
I mean, I know that people are laughing at me.
They're not laughing at you. They're laughing at the situation. They're laughing at the fact that I am as blunt and brazen in the things I say.
But that's why I love you. That's why I love you.
Well, that's why they love me.
Why do you think that's why I'm here?
If you support her in what I'm saying to her, stand up right now. These people aren't judging you. They're not making fun of you and laughing at your expense. You misread them. You misread a lot of things.
I do.
If I get you professional help, will you take it?
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you to help and participate if you want to. And if not, then you'll just see him in your rearview mirror if you listen to what I'm saying. But I hope you will participate in this. But it begins with you. He gets added later. But I'm talking about beginning with you right now.
I'm ready.
Fair enough?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Coming up, it is possible to determine with really high accuracy, 90% plus, whether a marriage will last or whether it won't. I'm going to tell you how after the break. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of interesting questions and comments lately on my social media platforms. And this Instagram question was asked by superfan Kristen. And I felt it was very relevant to today's topic. Kristen asked that you mentioned one time that you have extreme accuracy when determining if a marriage will last or not. How do you know, and what do you look for? Well, there really is a lot of research about this, actually, by a lot of different people. One in particular is a Dr. John Gottman, who has a marriage laboratory. They've done some really good research on this, and there are what are referred to as the 4 horsemen. And these are 4 things that will predict, and you can determine this in less than 10 minutes in watching a couple interact. And number 1 is there criticism in the relationship? Now, we're not talking about critique. You know, critique is saying, hey, I think that you could do this differently, or they're telling you, I think if you would handle this a different way or whatever. That's critique. When I'm talking about criticism, I'm talking about character assassination. Number 2, and this is a big one, and that's where there is contempt. There's contempt in the communications, where there's sarcasm, mocking, mimicking, and it's pervasive. The 3rd horseman is defensiveness, where they always play the victim. is like, oh, you always do this to me, and they come up with excuses. And the fourth is stonewalling. They turn away, tune out, and they experience a physiological flood where they just simply can't respond. Now, are there antidotes to these things? Yes, there are. There are ways to undo all of that, and I'll talk about that another time. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's show, go to drphil.com, plus the other platforms. We'll be talking about it. We'll see you next time.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. From Survivor.
At 16 months old, he battled stage 4 cancer.
To street thug.
The first time I got locked up in juvie, it was cool. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be here with my homies.
What exactly happened here?
I got smacked up.
You said that you were stealing some guns from the wrong person.
We are all scared for his life.
Will he accept his family's help?
We're leaving right now. Can I ask
hey,
for
separation? I'm not leaving, bro.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, at 16 months old, Gabe made headlines when the community rallied around him and his family as he battled stage 4 cancer with a 1 in 3 chance of survival. Well, Gabe is now 15 years old and in remission, but his mother Sharon says her sweet outgoing boy has become a wannabe gangster who has chosen his homies over his family. Take a look.
When Gabe got cancer, our entire lives turned upside down. Now we have to save him from this gang lifestyle that he's trying to lead.
Stop calling the cops on me.
You don't expect me to call the police when you're running away, stealing guns. I sometimes feel that when he went through his treatment, the chemo took a piece of his soul. It was like a switch flipped. He was angry, became very aggressive, verbally, physically. He was not himself. At 10 years old, he was definitely starting to hang out with the homies, the thugs. But age 12, Gabe broke into an elementary school and vandalized it. He served 2 weeks in juvenile hall, but he was placed on probation until the age of 15. At age 13, he had tried cocaine, and I heard that he was also popping Xanax. Last year, Gabriel came storming through the door. He was covered in blood. I thought his nose was broken.
We robbed the wrong person who is a homie. We stole guns from him, okay? On accident.
He said that he had broken into a house and stole some firearms. The gang members beat the crap out of him. My husband Jason and I fight and disagree on how to parent Gabe. I'm the stable one in the relationship. I attend most of all the court dates, the probation meetings, school meetings. I feel like Jason contributes very little energy to the family. Things have been pretty rocky over the last few years between Jason and I.
What exactly it is you think I need to change?
I kind of feel like it's the Jason show. You know, like you're just kind of self-absorbed. Like I feel like I'm talking to the wall every time I come home. I'm hoping coming here we can get some help to communicate better so that we can be better parents for Gabe. We need answers, we need solutions, we need a way to try to save Gabe because we just don't know what to do with him.
Well, Sharon's best friend, Rosalie, says Gabe's illness is not to blame for his behavior. She says it's his parents.
I absolutely believe Sharon and Jason parent out of guilt. I feel like Gabe is at the point of no return.
Why is somebody trying to do
Because we're in the streets, bro.
What do you mean you're in the streets?
You're not born
in the streets.
All right, I don't give a bro. I'm in the streets.
I asked Gabe if he was in a gang, and he advised me that he actually is now currently active. When Gabe misbehaves, they make excuses and blame the cancer and all of the treatment that he went under. They allow him to get away with murder. Gabe is causing more conflict between Jason and Sharon, and their relationship has always been a struggle. They haven't shown their children what a healthy, loving relationship actually is. It's no wonder why Gabe is looking for the attention from his homies, because he probably feels like he's not getting it at home.
Who's responsible for you?
Me,
Us. Probation, it's over
I did
for
what
you.
I did. You?
What?
We're already hitting a probation. I want to get my son on probation.
Because I
We had no
needed
control
some kind of
over you.
support. People can't just go around doing whatever they want.
Sharon and Jason are constantly yelling at each other. They're just so disconnected and don't really even like each other. Jason makes it really hard for Sharon to parent. Sharon will try to set down the law for Gabe. Jason comes in and changes the law that she just laid down. Sharon also does drink to tune out Jason when he is home and what he's doing to make her feel bad. I do believe that Jason is completely checked out of this marriage. If Sharon and Jason don't get their life together, I don't understand how they expect Gabriel to get his life together.
Okay. Thank you both for being here. And Rosalie, you have a different perspective on this than you do. You have a different perspective on it than his father does. So we got a lot of different points of view here. But the one thing we agree about is that this young man's in trouble.
Yes. Yes.
Do you think he is ganged up at this point?
I'm not sure. You know, he says he's active, you know, but then he says, no, I'm not trying to join the gang. So that's why some of them are coming after them because, you know, he's presenting himself like he's in the gang. He's hanging out with the kids in the gang, but, you know, he said he hasn't been jumped into it yet. We can't get a real answer. Yeah.
And you wanted to talk without Jason out here to begin with, his father out here to begin with. Why?
I'm just intimidated by him. You know, he kind of rides over me and I tend to shut down when he starts talking. He doesn't let me have a voice.
Have you guys given him an easy path because he's had such a hard road?
He did get very spoiled for many years.
And he's been in the hospital a lot.
Yes.
Who was there most of the time?
I was.
And where was Jason?
Working, trying to get work.
Okay.
Sporties, the strip bar.
I'm sorry?
I'm just going to throw it out there. He was at a strip bar a lot, or he was at a bar. I mean, she was at the hospital consistently.
You resent that?
What's that? Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I felt like I'm doing most of this on my own. You know, his probation meetings, the court hearings, like a lot of stuff. I feel like he could have asked work to take off. You know, it's important. It's your kid, you know, like this should be number one.
So you go to all the court dates, you do everything, and Jason's not there. And you say he wants to go to Vegas and be a country star, Jason?
Well, no, he left me. He took off in the middle of Gabriel's radiation when he was younger to go to try out for Nashville Star. That was a trip because I didn't find out until he was already gone. So I was like, you're where?
Older son.
And I was staying at the Ronald McDonald House with Gabriel.
But everybody knows that now he's running the streets.
Yeah.
And he's running with gangs at this point.
We are all scared for his life.
And you know he's getting beat up, he's getting shot at, he's committing crimes, he's doing things that he can wind up dead or in jail.
100%.
Like that. I mean, bang. You know that. So what are you and Jason doing about it?
We're not sure what to do at this point.
Okay, so you have no control over him whatsoever?
No control at all. Gabe does Gabe.
Okay. But you've called the police on him.
Multiple
You've sent him
times.
to juvenile detention, and you've actually said you feel better when he's locked up because he's not on the street.
Absolutely, yeah.
You at least know where he is. Now, he has spent 494 days in juvenile detention from 7/14/17 to 9/20/19. I did some math on that. He's been in juvenile detention, I think, 63% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Well, Sharon says her husband, Jason, blames her for Gabe's constant running away from home. We're going to ask him what he means by that and why it's your fault. We'll meet him next.
Sharon and I are not on the same page when it comes to parenting. Sharon has a tendency to make it about her. Sharon has always been a drinker. I'm going to tell you straight up. I do not like talking to you when you're tipsy or drunk, period. You slur your words.
All right, point
and it's
taken.
not, okay,
Enough.
I'm just saying, don't say enough. Because that's about 80% of the time.
And later,
I keep getting violated for dumbass stuff.
What do they violate you for?
Just kicking it with the homies, being out past curfew.
Not going to your probation. Stuff that we're worried about you for.
Jason is absolutely not a role model for Gabe. Jason did get in trouble as a teen, and he does have a problem with authority. This is why Jason battles with Sharon when Sharon goes to call the police. He feels that it's more harmful than it would be helpful for Gabe.
My husband talks to Gabe like they're buddies. I have zero tolerance for smoking weed in the house. Jason's motto is it's better for Gabe to be smoking weed in the house rather than somewhere else with his homies. Jason just needs to stop this crap and be a real dad.
Well, Sharon says for the past 2.5 years, her 15-year-old son, Gabe, has spent almost 500 days in juvenile detention. Now, Sharon says she gets zero support from her husband, Jason, when it comes to disciplining their son. I've always said, I don't care how flat you make a pancake, it's got two sides. Take a look.
Our son Gabe's attitude makes things very stressful for us. What do you think your definition of the word punk is?
What are you trying to tell me, Dad?
Gabe is a big boy. Gabe is going to do what Gabe wants to do. It doesn't mean I don't care about him. I had trouble in high school with drugs and alcohol. I was on probation. I went to juvenile hall. I understand the world Gabe's in, and I know it's not too late for him. Sharon and I are not on the same page when it comes to parenting. Sharon has a tendency to make it about her. 90% of our conversations has me saying, Sharon, this isn't about you. Try to see it from Gabe's point of view. If I say this, she's gonna get mad and storm off. It gets to the point where it's like, why am I bothering with this conversation?
I know,
You're looking
right?
for something
Half the
that
time
I don't know
talk
what
to you
to
and
do.
I say, did you hear me? Did you hear me?
So I get frustrated, we argue more, nothing gets resolved. Gabriel ends up basically winning the situation, and now there's like total tension. I'm not a cop cruising the beat trying to bust Gabe. He knows we don't want him smoking pot. He knows we don't want him drinking alcohol or breaking the law. Unfortunately, Sharon is going to make him not break the rules. If I even try to point out something from an outside perspective, she'll think that I'm coming down on her and I'm on Gabe's side and it's the whole world against Sharon. Sharon has always been a drinker. I'm going to tell you straight up. I do not like talking to you when you're tipsy or drunk, period. You slur your words.
All right, point
and it's
taken.
Not, okay,
Enough.
Don't say enough. Because that's about 80% of the time. I would point out to Sharon while she was trying to discipline or reprimand Gabe that she sounded tipsy. And I'm like, when you sound tipsy, he's not listening to you. That's when she feels like she has the courage to speak her mind. Unfortunately, it's kind of a rambling. I am of the firm belief that me and Sharon have to be on the same page for any of this to work with Gabe. Because he will play us against each other. So if we're not on the same page, I do not see this working for Gabe. And I'm in fear that Gabe is going to end up shot or in prison.
Tell me what you mean by being on the same page.
I'm of the belief, and it's not that I let Gabe do what he wants to do. Gabe is going to do what he wants to do. So when I say us being on the same page, Sharon doesn't seem to think that, she doesn't realize that yelling at him or in his face, it doesn't work.
Well, you're saying you need to be on the same page. You mean your page?
No, we could be on, okay. Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest.
When I talk about us being on the same page, I mean communicating with each other, because she'll start to reprimand it. And if I even am like, calm down, then she instantly thinks I'm on his side. And then she starts reacting and arguing with me and yelling at me about it.
You belittle her in front of her children, calling her drunk.
I don't belittle her.
Yes,
I
you
belittle
do.
her.
I have been
Rosalie,
there before.
Okay, and I can understand where you get the idea of what you think about her. I mean, there's definitely some things I would like to clear up, first of all. Okay, when it comes to being in the hospital, she might have been in the hospital with him 60 to 65% of the time. I was there the other 35 to 45% of the time. This is when you started drinking. You talk about all the times that, think about you opening a grape juice can so you could be constantly drinking wine in the hospital with our son.
When my girlfriends came to make me feel better and do my hair, and like, you know, it was a very stressful situation. Our kid was dying.
So,
like, give me a break, really?
And okay, so again, if we can't be honest with each other about stuff like this, then I really don't know.
Have you ever locked up your pot? I see you talking about her alcohol, but what part of this are you going to take responsibility for?
Okay, when it comes to responsibility,
you were smoking
look,
pot
I'm
the
not.
other night with your kid, last night.
You were smoking pot with my kid too, Rosalie.
Not Gabriel. Not Gabriel.
Okay, you know
I've
what?
never smoked
I'm
pot with
not
Gabriel. Jadian's 21.
Okay, So you guys want to lie and make me look like a bad guy? That's fine.
I'm here to be honest.
I'm not a perfect person, Dr. Phil.
No.
Dishes. Okay, hold on. And I can understand why you'd see that. You've heard nothing but these guys' point of view.
No, I'm wanting to hear your point of view, but what I hear you saying is you have abdicated your role as a parent.
That's not
You're saying
true.
There's a 15-year-old kid, and he's going to do what he's going to do. There's nothing we can do about it. How is that not abdicating your role as a father?
The only control that we have over Gabriel is limiting the carrot. That's it.
What are you willing to do?
I'm willing to do whatever.
I'm asking all of you. What are you willing to do?
Whatever it takes. Anything to save our son.
You know, Sharon and Jason's older son, Jadian, says his dad acts in a way that allows his brother Gabe to get the upper hand over his mother. We're going to ask him about that because some of the dynamics need to change here. What I want to do is come up with something that can save this young man's life, because it wouldn't surprise me if these people went home and I got a call 2 days from now and found out their son had been shot dead in the street. We'll be right back.
Gabe definitely hangs out with kids that are gang affiliated. Most of his words are gang references. He glorifies the gang mentality. First of all, you shouldn't be disrespecting your own family. It's another thing to bring your friends in and have them disrespect us too.
We just got shot at, bro. You think we're gonna leave? You sound stupid. We got shot at right outside the house.
And later...
I'm afraid for your life, Gabe.
How many times have you been shot at?
A couple times, 3 times.
Are you in a gang?
My older son, Jadian, he loves his mom and he's always going to defend his mom. So when I'll point something out which might have a tendency to make her sad, he thinks that I'm totally apathetic and couldn't care less about him or Gabe or the family. And so that's not the case.
I feel like Jadian definitely steps in and tries to tell Jason and I how to discipline Gabriel. I do look and consider what he says, and a lot of the times he's right, and a lot of the times he needs to butt out. It makes me really frustrated. Like, hey kid, you're not the parent.
Sharon and Jason say their 15-year-old son, Gabe, a child cancer survivor, has been in and out of juvenile detention since age of 12 and is now living a gang lifestyle. Now, their older son, Jadian, says he's not surprised because his parents hold him accountable for every infraction, but completely different story with Gabe, who they allow to just run wild. Take a look.
My relationship with my brother Gabe can be tough. I try to be the cool brother, but there's times where I have to let him know what he's doing is wrong. First of all, you shouldn't be disrespecting your own family. It's another thing to bring your friends in and have them disrespect us too.
We just got shot at, bro. You think we're gonna leave? You sound stupid. We got shot at right outside the house.
I feel like I lost some trust with my brother because there was times where he was confiding in me, but I had to let my parents know what was going on. He definitely hangs out with kids that are gang affiliated. Most of his words are gang references. He glorifies the gang mentality. What do gang members do? Get into trouble. What do they do? Steal
up, kick it,
post up,
barbecue with each other.
Yeah, I have homies that I barbecue with. We don't.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but
we don't walk around saying, "Where are you from? What do you bang?"
Somebody bangs on us, we'll tell them what's up.
Somebody broke into the house and tagged the walls trying to send a message to Gabe. It said, "Watch yourself." It said, "You don't bang." It said, "Bitch." I feel like my parents enabled Gabe by letting gang-affiliated people into the house. One time, my wallet went missing. I had $200. Gabe was there, and it wasn't until weeks later that he had told me his friend stole it. My parents have zero control over Gabe, and it seems like they've completely given up. I feel like what my mom needs to tell my dad is he's not involved enough, but she doesn't. My dad reprimands my mom in front of me and Gabe and puts her down. Gabe has definitely taken advantage of that and used it against my mom. I had to move out of my house because the situation was so stressful there, I couldn't even focus on myself, and it was bringing me down.
Jadian, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
What's your biggest concern for your brother?
That he's gonna end up dead soon. Pretty blatantly, honestly. Gabe is just craving attention, respect, and a sense of belonging that he's not getting at home. So he's looking for it anywhere he can, you know?
I want to introduce you to a friend of mine that knows about the gang life, and it's right here. This is Joseph Lucero. Now, he is a former Los Angeles gang member, And he knows a lot about this life, and he and I have talked about this. You were involved in gangs how long, Joseph?
I was born into it. You know, my father was, my uncles were, my brothers were. You know, that void, I didn't have my parents. So that void that wasn't at home, you spoke well, very well spoken. I looked for it on the streets, and I found it.
Gabe is in danger. There's no question. He's in the life, and he is in danger.
He is. He's very, your son is gangbanging. We only do one of two things. Where you from? Or answer where I'm from. That's it, man. You're a man, your son, you are idolized to your son. You are everything. So is the mother. And I don't mean it in the, one's more powerful. But you're his pop, man. You say no? Hell no. When that child was born, and you had tears in your eyes, it's got to come back to that. It's got to.
Well, we're going to meet him.
Because the next tears are going to be, he's going to be gone.
We're going to meet him, and I want you to talk to him. Sharon and Jason's 15-year-old son, Gabe, says he has no plans to stop hanging with his homies, and his parents just need to chill and stop tripping. Well, we're going to meet him after the break.
I can't say that I'm from the gang, but I kick it with all the homies from the gang. My probation officer gave me gang conditions just because he's seen pictures of me kicking it with the homies, red rags and pictures. My mom basically turned me into my PO, like what mom snitches out their own kid all the time.
Gabe has spent a total of 494 days in juvenile hall. It's unbelievable.
Juvenile hall has turned him from somebody that had no respect for authority to a little punk that has no fear of authority and speaks in like this language and he talks like this.
Being in and out of juvenile hall, he's definitely adapted to this gang mentality. He'll get out for a couple days and put himself right back in there.
Life has moved forward, and Gabe doesn't even know where exactly he fits in because he has been in juvenile hall for so long.
Gabe says he's used to his parents giving him absolute freedom, and it's just too late for them to start trying to lay down rules now because that has passed. He's his own man now, and he's going to do what he wants to do. Take a look.
I'm not from the hood, but I kick it with the homies. My day's pretty simple. I just get up, call the homies. They'll just come to my house, and then we'll just post up. We just get like tequila, beers, smoke weed sometime. Usually we just mob it, and then if anybody starts tripping, then we start tripping too. If you're walking around at night, you're probably gonna get either jumped or popped at it. A couple of days ago, I was just posted, sitting there, and then out of nowhere, like, pop, pop, pop. And then I turn around and like there's like a laser right next to my homie's head, and then we started running hella fast, beefing it with a lot of people.
Is there like a hit on you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't snitch. I've never snitched in my life, so I'm not gonna say like where I was at, who got shot, who I think it was. I can't say that I'm from the gang, but I kick it with all the homies from the gang. My probation officer gave me gang conditions just because he's seen pictures of me kicking it with the homies, red rags and pictures. My mom basically turned me into my PO. She would just snitch me out all the time. I don't know why. She'll tell my PO everything. And she's, oh, I feel safe when you're locked up. I can finally sleep. Like, well, mom snitches out their own kid all the time. My dad's more understanding than my mom. He doesn't freak out like my mom does. I don't know what they're tripping off of. I know we get shot at and stuff, but that's life sometimes. My brother Jaden, we're close, but sometimes he'll start tripping off me because of the way I act. And he'll be like, oh yeah, if you do that, I'm gonna f you up. He tries to be like my dad or something. The first time I got locked up in juvie, it was cool. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be here with my homies. And I did like 50 days. I'm off probation now, so I'm just chilling because I maxed out. I've already been locked up 11 times. I'm trying to get my felonies off my record. I'm not trying to be in the system locked up my whole life. I told my parents I wasn't gonna go back, but they don't believe me.
Okay, Gabe, how you doing?
Good, how about you?
I'm all right. These people that you are running the streets with, most of them have criminal records, right?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them don't get caught up.
Yeah. But you're expected to do certain things that are criminal in nature, and that's high risk for getting arrested, prosecuted, and having felonies.
I already have 2 felonies. I'm trying to get them off my record. I keep getting violated for dumbass stuff. I'm just trying to...
What do they violate you for?
For my mom telling them stuff.
Like what? What do you get in trouble for?
I don't know. What do you tell them? Just kicking it with the homies.
Well, you're
being out past curfew. Going to
not going to your probation or taking your drug test or
gone for days
with
at a
your,
time,
you know,
testing
responsibilities.
Dirty. I mean, it's, you know, stuff that we're worried about you for.
running away.
What exactly happened here?
I got smacked up.
Who smacked you up?
Some J-Cats.
So what'd they smack you up for?
For some that I didn't even really do.
I'm afraid for your life, Gabe.
That doesn't matter.
I'm
That's
so
not a private
scared
conversation. I don't want that on here.
Well, you said that you were stealing some guns from the wrong person.
Me and my homie were right there. Somebody stole some guns.
You didn't do it?
Nah.
Okay, but somebody thought you did.
Because they try to blame it on us.
How many times you been shot at?
A couple times, 3 times.
Were you doing anything, or did they just drive by shooting at you?
Posted up. Or like they'll come out of nowhere from behind us.
So what does posted up mean?
Just posted up. Sitting right there on our phone, calling somebody like, where you at?
Just sitting in one place?
Yeah.
Are you in a gang?
Nah, I just kick it with the homies. I kick it with the homies.
You just hang with them?
Yeah.
Our next guest has some words of advice about life as a gangster. And believe me, Gabe will want to listen. We'll be right back. Gabe says he has no intentions of quit hanging with his homies, not even after getting shot at 3 times. He says his parents, Sharon and Jason, think he has changed for the worse, but all he did was just grow up. Well, I want to introduce Gabe to Joseph Lucero, who you've all met already today. He's a former Los Angeles gang member. He spent half of his life in the first 25 years in the penitentiary. I'm concerned about his future, if he has one. What do you think?
Gabe, you a miracle, bro. You weren't supposed to come this far. There's a lot of pain in that chest, bro. Probably a lot of questions. Why me? Why didn't I die? Why am I still here? Why am I alive? Why the hell did I have to get cancer? Why the hell did I have to go to juvenile hall all the time?
Yeah.
But from today forward, it doesn't have to be like that. Your homies can still be your bros. Because I said that love is real. But you gotta do something for you. Gabe's gotta live now. What do you love to do? Sports, music, anything?
I like music.
You love music? You write bars?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got 16 on me right now? Give me 16.
Spent 2 years in and out locked in. Kept coming back, still on that probation. I be trying to stay out, trying to do my own but you already know, lil' homie be struggling, been sent to place, man. Got me up. All I was thinking is I'ma keep my head up. Shout out to my fam, shout out to my brothers, shout out to all those other homies being in struggles. I'm just kicking back, I ain't really doing stuck in this building, locked down in this bitch. When I was locked up, I was
I got goosebumps. You just told me a story. That is success. That is you. That is you channeling what you're going through. Everybody in the crowd, what did they do? What'd you guys do?
Oh, chill out.
Remember?
That's a good feeling, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
To get your ass on the wall, put your hands behind the back. It's better than that, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's love, bro. That's acceptance. That's what we all want.
You got to take him out of this situation, because if you don't, he's going to die. He's been shot at 3 times. That's 3 times too many. Now, I have in the audience Shane Gallagher. Now, Shane is the executive director of Wingate Wilderness Therapy. Now, Wingate Wilderness Therapy is the best, most reputable wilderness program in this country. And they're one of the only ones that help young adults with or without substance abuse issues. It combines a life-changing outdoor experience with therapy to help families develop harmony and restore emotional health. Shane, one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is to pull out of the world completely, hit the reset button, and start over from the ground up. True?
This is very true. You know, Gabe, I was watching your responses to everybody, basically, this whole time you've been up here. And when Joseph asked you to sing your song, I'll call it, and everybody clapped, you lit up. And you looked at your brother, and you're a good kid. And you are somebody who has value in your heart, and you see value in your heart as well. You appreciated people clapping for probably several reasons, but one of them is because you know what it means to belong somewhere and have a sense of belonging. One of the things that we do more than anything else is to help people have a general sense of belonging. What does it mean to belong to the human family, and then also the people closest to you, because we'll be working with this whole crew, not just you.
What do you think about doing something dramatically different than what you're doing every day?
I mean, I'm down to try it out, go for a little bit, but I'm still trying to go back where I live.
You got to be open-minded and lean into it. That's all you got to do. Sometimes these episodes do not end the way we think they will, so you will definitely want to stick around for that. But next, some vital health care information you do not want to miss. And later...
The cops are outside. We're going.
Why? We can talk about why later.
Nah, I'm not going, bro. You already know, bro. We've done this before.
We're leaving right now. Can I ask you for cooperation?
I'm not leaving, bro.
If we all want to be healthy, and that means eating right, exercising, and definitely keeping up with medical appointments. Now, one way to cover the high cost of medical care is with insurance like Medicare Advantage. Now, did you know there are plans that may include free and additional benefits? Joining me is Andromeda DeBerry, a licensed insurance agent and spokesperson for MedicareAdvantage.com. So welcome.
Thank you.
A lot of us are confused about this. Why is it important for people to understand Medicare and their options?
Well, Dr. Phil, for people who are new to Medicare, it's important to know what may be available to them. They may qualify for plans with additional benefits, and that's where Medicare Advantage comes in.
Okay, well, what additional benefits could a Medicare Advantage plan offer that Medicare Part A and B don't?
Well, Medicare is great, but it doesn't cover everything. Now, what many people don't know is that Medicare Advantage plans include the same benefits as Medicare Parts A and B, but may include additional benefits. And that's for things like dental, including dentures, extractions, crowns, and bridges, vision, including free eyeglasses. There's hearing, including free hearing aids. There may also be plans that offer in-home support services, transportation to doctor's visits, free gym memberships, and even free meal delivery.
Oh, really?
Really?
And another big expense for many people is the cost of prescriptions. So does Medicare Advantage help with those expenses?
Yes, plans may include a 75% discount on prescription drugs, and that can be a huge savings, especially for someone who takes medications regularly. In addition, plans may provide an over-the-counter allowance, and that helps pay for everyday items, things like vitamins, supplements, incontinence, blood pressure, and even diabetic supplies.
But what about those often unexpected medical costs? When I'm talking like hospitalizations, because one stay in the hospital could cost thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. Can Medicare Advantage help with that as well?
Yeah, well, keep in mind that Medicare Parts A and B only cover limited hospital and medical costs. Also, there's no limit on what you may be responsible to pay out of pocket. The good news is with Medicare Advantage plans, there's an annual limit on what you could be responsible for.
Well, it sounds like Medicare Advantage plans help provide important missing coverage and services that people really need. So the big question is, how much does that plan with all these benefits cost? That's the question.
Well, many plans have $0 monthly premiums, $0 copays for many services, or even no deductible.
So Medicare Advantage sounds like a really great option that could help so many people. And you've set up something just for my viewers, right?
Yes. We've set up a special hotline for your audience to call for a free, no obligation benefits review. They can call 1-800-615-0205 and speak to a licensed insurance agent. An agent can help determine if they are eligible to enroll right now and review what additional benefits may be available to them with a Medicare Advantage plan.
Okay, well, it's so easy with just one call. You can make sure you're getting the best plan for you, right? So you can call that special hotline number today. And again, it's 800-615-0205. They can answer a lot of questions that I don't know the answers to. So I'd like to thank Andromeda DeBerry for joining me here today. Now, it's time to go back to the main story. When we last left off, 15-year-old Gabe, he claimed he would go to Wingate Wilderness Therapy in Utah, and it seems like this has been 5 minutes. It's been like a couple of hours backstage. There has been a really unexpected turn of events, and things did not go as planned. But I never give up. So stick around to see what happened next.
Hey, bro! I'm not leaving, bro!
We're going to ask for your cooperation, okay?
I'm not leaving.
So, Gabe, if you don't comply, you're resisting. If you resist, you end up in restraints. Okay, can you please stand up? I need to put you in restraints.
Watch out. Somebody's supposed to get the out of my face.
When we left off with 15-year-old Gabe, he told me on stage that he would go to Wingate Wilderness Therapy in Utah. But there was an unexpected turn of events, and things did not go as planned backstage, which is to be expected when you are dealing with such a sensitive issue. But I never give up, even if it means tracking Gabe down in his own hometown.
You're not gonna force me to go to Utah. I'm not leaving state. I'm not going to the program. Let me get out of the room. I'm looking. Calm down, bro. Let me out. Punching the wall. Let me out of the room, bro! Let me go home. Let me go home, bro. I'm not gonna go without a phone, without my bro. But I don't you, bro. At all. Okay. You're either you or you. All of you, bro.
No, I'm glad that you have to have your boys tell you what you can and can't do. You're just waiting for the okay from them.
Bro, I'm not going at all.
Really, homie?
You know what, kid?
You think this is a joke?
Close the door, bro. Get the out of here.
We didn't come all the way and do all this so that you could just leave and come home and just go right back to the homies who are shooting at you. What do you think's gonna happen? The bottom line is that Dad, me, and you need help.
We are en route to Gabe's home. You think he's going to freak on me?
I think he's going to be kind of like groggy sleeping.
Get in quick, light on fast. Okay, let's go. Gabe, good morning. Today's the day for the ranch,
You're
bro.
gonna go to the wilderness camp.
What are you doing, bro?
The cops are outside. We're going.
Why?
You want them to come in?
later.
No, I'm not going, bro.
Please?
You already know, bro. You've done this before.
We're leaving right now. Can I ask for your
bro!
cooperation?
I'm not leaving, bro.
We're going to ask for your cooperation,
Nah,
okay?
bro, I'm not leaving.
So, Gabe, if you don't comply, you're resisting. If you resist, you end up in restraints.
No.
Okay, can you please stand up? I need to put you in restraints.
So watch out. Somebody's supposed to get the out of my face.
You're going.
What the is your problem, bro?
One more second, man, to not comply, and it's on. Dude.
Get the out of here, homie.
Dude, stop it. Hey, knock it off. Tony, let's lay him down.
Stop resisting, Gabe.
No. We're gonna be there for needs help.
Hey, bro. Come on, hey, I'm joking, bro. I'm gonna die. Bro. Please turn me over.
Yes, stop resisting.
We're gonna turn you over. Give me up, bro. My guns are too tight.
Turn it. We'll loosen them in a minute.
Arms. Oh, what's up, bro? I'm not going nowhere, bro. I'm sleeping. Why you guys pull me on my outside? Going nowhere, bro. Bro, let me go. You can't drag me in the car. Get the up. Hey, bro.
Shut the doors. Let's go, people.
Okay.
I was hoping it wouldn't go down that way, but in the back of my head, I knew it was going to.
He was gonna resist. It's emotionally upsetting, to see him in that state.
Ever since he was 11 and first started getting in trouble, you know, it's like we've always thought, like, if all else fails, you know, we'll call the Dr. Phil show and, like, oh my God, somebody please help us. And it's like, I can't believe that this is actually happening. But I hope this is for the greater good and, you know, we can really get some help.
But right now, I feel relief. Like, absolute relief.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Dr. Phil. Like, I pray this works. I pray this works.
We're here in Kanab, Utah. We just dropped Gabe off at the Wilderness Program. He's not a happy camper at the moment. Since we got in the car, he was restrained, but we were able to get him out of restraints within 5 minutes, and we were able to calm the situation down. We counseled him. We explained this opportunity and how this works and what it can do for his life. I'm hoping that he makes good choices here at Wingate Wilderness. Compliance is key to any successful program.
My team told me that Gabe has reluctantly agreed to stay at Wingate, and I'm glad he's there, as I believe it is the best and only place he needs to be right now. I've also heard that his parents, Sharon and Jason, are extremely grateful that I did not give up on their son. Gabe is a resilient young man, having beaten cancer as a child. Now, I'm rooting for him and will definitely keep you updated. That's all for today. We'll see you next time.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, from supermodel to...
I truly believe I have schizophrenia.
He spends 10 hours a day Googling what could be wrong with his health.
You thought you had lung cancer. Then you thought you looked jaundiced.
I have a friggin' symptom every day.
But is his family...
Blake's a real bad hypochondriac.
We know you more than anyone.
More than anyone. Okay, but how does that rule out me being schizophrenic?
Because you're not.
making matters worse?
It's like a drug addict getting a fix. Stop doing it. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Today's guest lived a big life as a successful fashion model. Blake has traveled the world and modeled for brands such as Gucci, Armani, but he works as a waiter by day and spends every second of his free time Googling illnesses and disorders. He believes he has schizophrenia, leukemia, anxiety, OCD, psychosis, the list just goes on and on. Now, his mom, Kim, recently reached out to me to try and figure out the mystery behind Blake going from top model to possibly debilitatingly mentally ill.
My 30-year-old son Blake has been on a horrible mental roller coaster for the last 2.5 years. And now his mind is currently ruining his modeling career.
I always have a symptom. Every single day. I have a friggin' symptom every day.
I know, Blake. You can brainwash yourself. Blake has seen several mental professionals. He will not accept the diagnosis of OCD, general anxiety disorder, and depersonalization disorder.
How can anxiety or OCD be like this debilitating? I feel like you guys are maybe missing red flags.
Honey, you haven't done anything different to change things.
Don't you think I want to, though?
Right now, he truly believes that he is developing schizophrenia. When this first started, Blake would reach out to doctors online. And if he didn't hear what he wanted to hear, he started making appointments with other doctors. Blake will spend hours every day researching illnesses.
I Google all these disorders, and I can take at least 1 or 2 symptoms from maybe all of them, each
Blake,
of them.
I can take a symptom from how I feel sometimes and think it's cancer or something. He will watch videos on schizophrenia, depersonalization disorder. He is always trying to convince me that he has all these illnesses. He's thought he's had leukemia, lymphoma, and just the other day, he told me he thinks he's bipolar. Blake wipes me out with his false beliefs. It really makes me frustrated. I feel like I have to be there for him 24/7. I try not to enable Blake, but I feel like I have to reassure him everything's okay.
If I'm not getting reassurance, that's when I'm having a nervous breakdown.
I'm getting older. I've got to take care of my health.
I know, you don't think that kills me?
You already lost your dad. Blake was 12 years old when his father passed away. Blake was always scared of dying. After his dad died, it escalated. If this doesn't change for Blake, I just see the same vicious cycle. I feel like it will be Groundhog's Day every single day.
Well, Kim says even though she's constantly reassuring Blake that he's 100% healthy, he refuses to believe her. So here's what he has to say.
I can't accept that I don't have schizophrenia right now. I think there's red flags being missed by my family members and my doctors. I spend 10 hours a day researching schizophrenia, bipolar, because I genuinely think I have it. My obsessions completely changed me as a person. I feel robotic almost. I feel like I'm most at calm when I'm researching, watching the same videos to try to comfort me. My diagnosis with anxiety, OCD, and depersonalization disorder is making my life a living hell. I 100% think I would be a lot further in my modeling career if it wasn't for this. My issues really magnified a few years ago when I came across a lump on my groin. I was totally convinced I had lymphoma.
The other day, you were sick, you had a cough, you thought you had lung cancer.
Yeah.
Is that not true?
I did.
And then you thought you looked jaundice.
When my anxiety attacks present themselves, I just break down crying for like 20 minutes. It's the worst feeling in the world. I just feel like my life's almost over. I was having lunch with my mom and I thought I heard like the fastest, quietest little whisper saying my name in my head. I instantly thought I had schizophrenia. I have a lot of guilt in me because of this. I'm bringing everyone down.
I don't want you to feel guilty. I just want you to get help and be joyful again.
No one could really understand what I'm going through because they're not going through it. My agency in New York is pushing me to get over there, but I am scared to go. What if I have a psychotic episode? My biggest fear is I will truly be diagnosed with schizophrenia, all my dreams will be shattered, and I will end up in a mental hospital for the rest of my life.
Okay, it's good to meet you.
You too, Dr. Phil.
How you feel about being here?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm anxious. I have thoughts that you're gonna see me and think I'm psychotic, and I just fear the worst every time I see a mental health expert. And
what do you think's going on here?
He's a hypochondriac. It started when he was younger, but it has just escalated in the last 2.5 years. And I really feel like he's brainwashed himself from researching 24/7. He falls asleep to videos on every mental health issue there is.
I have so many weird symptoms, though. So how's that being a hypochondriac when I'm feeling these symptoms? That's what I feel like you guys don't understand.
If you spend so much time with Dr. Google, if he's your best friend, then you've had to look up hypochondria, right? So she's exactly describing what you're saying. So why are you arguing that?
I just feel like being a hypochondriac can't cause the symptoms that I'm experiencing.
No, you're experiencing them. You have no objective data that you have them. You're just experiencing them. Well, here are the things you say that you fear having. You fear you have lung cancer, bipolar, schizophrenia, brain tumor, liver disease, heart disease, thyroid cancer.
And a lot of those will be just like, I'll fare it for a day and then it will kind of just go away. But the one that's just lingering on, that I just truly believe I have, is schizophrenia. I pretty much think I'm early stage in that my psychotic episode hasn't hit yet. That's what I'm convinced.
Okay. Visual hallucinations, auditory hallucinations?
There was one time I
heard your name once.
Yeah, I thought I heard my name in my head once with a little whisper. Other than that, I haven't heard that since then.
Yeah. Boy, if you heard the I hear in my head, you'd really think it was
That's what I've told him. This morning he woke up and said he now thinks he has bipolar because he woke up irritable.
Bipolar 1 or 2?
I'd probably say 2.
Yeah. So you don't get wildly manic, just sort of manic.
I mean, I don't even know if I get manic.
You don't.
Well, how can you have bipolar 2?
Because I read, they could feel irritable, and sometimes I'll like wake up and like I'll just be feeling really irritable.
You can't be a lazy hypochondriac. If you think you have a disorder, you got to really study up on it so you know what you're supposed to have. Blake's twin brother, Chad, says he's sick and tired of everything revolving around Blake and his obsessive thoughts of being mentally ill. We'll meet him next.
Blake is completely normal around other people. He's able to go to work every day as a server. His modeling agents love him. His managers love him. Everyone loves him. It's like he hides his schizophrenia thing at work, but then it all comes at home.
We're your family. We know you more than anyone. More than anyone.
Okay, but how does that rule out me being schizophrenic then?
Because you're not.
And later, I've been doing this for 45 years. I've worked with a lot of schizophrenics.
I've seen some of your videos.
And none of them as miserable as you are.
My twin brother Chad and I were always very close growing up. I feel like in the past 2.5 years, Chad has definitely isolated himself from me. I feel like he sees what he's doing to me. It makes me feel angry. We used to go out all the time, but now I just think he's annoyed with me.
I'm always gonna care about you. You're always gonna be my twin. Are we gonna be best friends? Probably not. It's not how it used to be.
I'll see him going out and I wanna be there. I love my brother, but I want him to understand what I'm going through is debilitating and I'm doing my best. It definitely hurts me that my brother does not want to be around me. He's been my best friend my whole life.
Kim says that her son Blake is a fashion model who went from traveling the world to Googling potential ailments that he may have on a daily basis. Now, Blake's twin brother Chad says enough is enough, and he refuses to support Blake's obsessive behavior. Let's hear from Chad.
My brother Blake and I, we used to be best friends. We used to have that twin bond, and we don't anymore.
I don't think you truly understand what you're putting our family through.
I do understand what I'm putting our family through, but I feel like you guys aren't quite understanding how debilitating this is on me.
Blake's obsessive behavior has 100% gotten in the way of our relationship. I'm exhausted at constantly having to reassure Blake that he does not have the disorders that he thinks he has.
Why did you think you had leukemia? What was your symptom?
I was at work and I was feeling really weak.
Really weak? So you have leukemia for feeling weak?
Blake's a real bad hypochondriac. Since Blake's symptoms came to life, he's very unmotivated. He's super depressed. He just has no life in him. It's really, really sad to see him like that because he's one of the most talented people I've ever met. Ever since he started modeling, that's kind of when this behavior started. I don't know if it's the pressure of getting his looks or his appearance perfect, but that's when the obsession started. I just look at Blake now like he's very weak-minded and he just doesn't have a strong bone in his body.
I think you needing reassurance 24/7 is very weak.
I also think he just hasn't really figured out his life, and I feel like this compulsive behavior is his way of coping with it. He acts completely normal around other people. He's able to go to work every day as a server. His modeling agents love him. His managers love him. Everyone loves him. It's like he hides his schizophrenia thing at work, but then it all comes at home. It's bizarre.
We're your family. We know you more than anyone. More than anyone.
Okay, but how does that rule out me being schizophrenic then?
Because you're not.
I've tried to help Blake. I've tried to get him to go to the gym with me every morning. Every single time I hang out with my friends, I invite him just to get him out of the house, but he won't do it. I'm pretty confident if Blake's behavior doesn't change, we're not gonna have a relationship at all.
Well, Chad, you're really frustrated with him.
Yeah, I'm really angry. Not gonna lie.
What do you want him to do?
I want him to be Blake again. I want him to be my twin again. I want him to feel normal. Yeah. He thinks his life is over. He thinks he has schizophrenia and that's that. He thinks there's no way out of it. Like, it's so sad to see. Like, we used to do everything together.
2.5 years, you were just full of life. Played jokes on people, always wanted to be around your friends, traveled the world. You're full of life. And it's like somebody has sucked your soul from you, literally. Yeah, and it's sucking us dry.
So lifeless, so lifeless. I don't have a sense of self. And I look in the mirror and I don't really have a connection with myself in the mirror. And
yeah, that must be really miserable to look at yourself in the mirror.
Cool.
I mean, you're both so handsome, I want to slap you.
Thank you.
What's the funniest movie you've seen lately?
I'm a model, so I love Zoolander. That cracks me up.
Yeah, that's definitely funny.
Step Brothers. Step Brothers, yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you really laughed? We laughed just a second ago.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
My girlfriend made me laugh this morning.
Yeah, I said that there were some problems with your theory. You say there's no test for schizophrenia. But there are tests for it. There are things that really determine whether someone is schizophrenic, even a little bit or a lot or whatever. And for example, one of those things is schizophrenics just really don't have a sense of humor. They don't find anything funny. And they don't have the ability to speculate about whether or not they have schizophrenia, which you do. And they have an inability to distinguish between fantasy and reality. And you do.
I know there's been like a few times where I'll be at a bar and I'll look at like a glass of wine and in my head I'll visualize it being poisoned, even though I like know it's not, and I would still drink it. But like I'd be like, why would I even get that thought? Is that schizophrenia even, like, is that schizophrenia putting that thought in my head?
I feel like you've just brainwashed yourself the past couple of years.
Yeah, well, we're going to start working out of that because I have a pivotal question that is going to be your first step out of this quagmire right after the break. Kim says that she believes she's partially to blame for Blake's obsessive thoughts. She's not, but she is damn sure fueling the fire. And I'm going to tell her how to stop doing that. And I've got a question that's going to put him on the path when we come back. You've got to stop playing the game. He is addicted to you assuring him that he does not have what he thinks he has. Stop doing it. And later, your language is catastrophic. You say this is horrible. It's not horrible. You know, what's horrible is a child on the burn unit. That's horrible. You getting nervous on the way to work's not horrible. That's annoying.
I myself have OCD and general anxiety disorder. I think there's a chance that my OCD brain definitely went to Blake. He inherited my brain. My anxiety has been a major problem. My mind always races. There's nothing that will slow down my brain. It's very similar to how Blake is. I've had many conversations with Blake about my OCD, how I just ignore the intrusive thoughts. I think that's what's so frustrating to me. It's like, if I can ignore the intrusive thoughts, why can't you?
Well, Blake says he spends 10 hours a day Googling what could be wrong with his health. I've got this pivotal question for you in just a second, but let me talk to you two first. Let me just tell you, if you want him to be better, you need to stop right now reassuring him that he is not schizophrenic, not mentally ill, not suffering from debilitating OCD. You just have to stop reassuring him.
Okay.
Because every time you do that, it's like a drug addict getting a fix. His anxiety builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up. And then you go, no, you're fine. You don't have it. You don't have it. You don't have it. He goes, oh. And it starts building up, building up, building up, building up, building up. And you go, no, let me reassure you. Let me reassure you. So it builds up, he gets a fix. Builds up, gets a fix. Builds up, gets a fix. He is addicted to you reassuring him that he does not have what he thinks he has. Stop doing it. You are addicting him to your reassurance. You didn't give him your OCD tendencies, by the way. Is there a genetic component to it? Yeah, there's a genetic component to it, but that just determines who can be, not who will. So erase the guilt. Don't parent from guilt. Don't reassure from guilt. Don't buy into it. He is sucking you in to this delusional thinking.
Okay.
So you need to stop rewarding bad behavior. And if he just like, I just need you to tell me I don't have it. Sorry, maybe you do. I don't know. I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
Stop paying him off.
My brain won't like that.
Pardon me?
I said my brain will not like that.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Okay, now, my pivotal question for you is, you think you have schizophrenia. Well, let's just talk that through.
I do.
So what if you do? Let's just play it out. I don't mind playing what if with somebody as long as we play it all the way out to the end.
Yeah.
So what do you have against schizophrenics?
There's nothing I have against them.
Well, apparently you seriously don't want to be one.
Well, I feel like it would impact my life being in and out of mental hospitals, and it would shatter my mind.
Like this isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, what you're doing is impacting your life, right?
Yeah.
It has you paralyzed. It has you withdrawn. It has your world shrinking up. You're totally dysfunctional, right? So why would that be any worse? At least you would have a name.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it.
You could describe it in one word instead of going through all of this. So what if you have schizophrenia?
I would just feel like my life would never be the same.
Have you ever heard that old saying, what I fear, I create?
I haven't.
What I fear, I create. You are creating the life that a schizophrenic would have in your head. You don't have schizophrenia, you've just decided to live the life of a schizophrenic. Okay, so what if you do have schizophrenia? So then you would have symptoms and you would have to take medication, then what?
Then I would have to accept it and do the best to move on with my life.
And that's a horrible outcome? That's what you're running scared from?
I don't know why, I'm just so terrified of this disease. For some reason, I have it in my mind that if I have schizophrenia, like, I'll be in and out of mental hospitals. I might lose my girlfriend. I might lose friendships.
What I fear, I create. How's your relationship with your brother right now?
We're isolated, we're distant, you know? We used to do
So you're creating exactly what you're afraid is going to happen if you have the disease.
Yeah.
You don't have the disease, you're just creating all the negatives if you did. If you had schizophrenia, they might happen, they might not. You're making sure they happen now by fearing that you have schizophrenia. I've been doing this for 45 years. I've worked with a lot of schizophrenics.
I've seen some of your videos.
And none of them as miserable as you are. Now, Blake's girlfriend, Maxie, says she had no idea that he felt he had schizophrenia until he texted her one day by mistake. We'll talk to her next.
Blake was living in Mexico for modeling, and he texted me saying, would a 28-year-old be developing schizophrenia? I was confused because I know what schizophrenia is, and Blake is so far from having that.
I've been with my girlfriend Maxie for a little over 2 years now. Maxie's become my go-to person I seek reassurance from and vent to. First thing I do in the morning, I wake up and I tell Maxie how I'm feeling. Then when I'm off work, I call her and start venting and trying to ask for reassurance on why I'm not schizophrenic. I feel like I definitely opened Pandora's box because I'm constantly texting her the same things over and over again, and I could see the stress it's putting on her. I don't know how she could be happy in a relationship like this because I feel like I'm just bringing her down with me.
Well, I'm joined by Kim and her twin sons, Blake and Chad. Now, Kim and Chad say they're frustrated with Blake, who thinks he has schizophrenia, psychosis, thyroid cancer, lymphoma. Blake's girlfriend, Maxie, says she's also frustrated with him, and it's the same false beliefs that get in the way of their relationship.
Blake and I have a healthy relationship, but with what Blake's going through, it can be hard sometimes. I first learned about Blake's issues by accident about a year ago. Blake was living in Mexico for modeling, and he texted me saying, would a 28-year-old be developing schizophrenia? The text was meant for his mom, but it went to me. I was confused because I know what schizophrenia is, and Blake is so far from having that. Now, schizophrenia is all we talk about. He would send me videos of people that have schizophrenia, and he didn't exhibit any of the same behaviors that anyone in the videos had. Blake has never had any hallucinations and has never had any delusions, at least that I know of. I've seen Blake have maybe 4 or 5 panic attacks. A couple months ago, he was texting me that he was afraid he was slipping into a psychosis. He wanted to sign himself into a mental hospital. There are some days where I'm having a bad day and it won't get addressed because we're only talking about schizophrenia and how he feels. It can be very frustrating.
How much time does he spend focused on this when he's with you?
Some days are better than others. There are days where this is all we talk about. We don't talk about anything else besides that.
What would happen if you just refused to engage and just refused to talk about it?
I think he just gets really, in a really down mood.
Okay, and then what happens?
If I don't give him reassurance. I mean, I do give him reassurance because when I see him in such a low mood, it's hard not to. You
understand why it's critically important that you not do that, right? And he may get down, as you say, and
Yeah.
he might have a panic attack or whatever. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the world's not going to end.
Yeah.
You've had panic attacks, right?
I have.
Yeah. And what happens when you have a panic attack?
I mean, it's hell for 20, 30 minutes. I'll break down, cry my eyes out.
Then what happens?
Then I go to work for 7 hours.
Yeah.
And come home, and I'm usually more relaxed.
So my point is, when you have a panic attack, you can completely pass out, but the worst that's going to happen is you're going to wake up and go, oh,
yeah,
okay, I better get on to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the world doesn't come to an end, right?
No, it's terrifying. I have no joy in me at all.
There's power in language. And if I had your internal dialogue, I wouldn't be yucking it up much either. Your language is catastrophic. You say this is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's not horrible. What's horrible is a child on the burn unit. That's horrible. You getting nervous on the way to work's not horrible. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Let's call things what they are. We sent Blake to Dr. Charles Sophie. He is a very distinguished psychiatrist to do some testing yesterday. Well, we have those results. We'll find out when we come back.
My doctor prescribed me Abilify. I looked up Abilify, and of course, I saw it treats people with psychosis and schizophrenia.
And you thought you had that too then?
The biggest fear I have right now is schizophrenia.
You're torturing yourself. You know that.
That's what people are telling me, but I just...
You can't stop it.
I can't stop it.
Yeah, it's horrible.
ruining my life.
Before we get back to today's program, I want to tell you about what we have coming up next Tuesday. Dina says her relationship with her 18-year-old daughter, Karina, has been tumultuous ever since her daughter was 13. But her once honor roll student with a college scholarship began rolling downhill when she brought her boyfriend, Tommy, home, and things went from bad to worse after a car incident. Take a look.
Karina got into some legal trouble around the age of 17. I attribute a lot of my daughter's downward spiral to her boyfriend, Tommy. The thing that really infuriates me is that one night, Tommy dragged my daughter with his car. They were in an argument. Karina went to get out of the car, and he took off. She split her head open. When I watch it, I see something horrific. Definitely time for her to grow up and dump Tommy.
Dina's version of this is that Tommy pulled the car away and dragged Karina with his car. Now, Karina says Tommy hit her with his car, but he did it by accident. So there's a real question here. Did he run her over because they were in a fight and he threw a huge rage, or was this truly an accident? We have a video from a security camera, and we're going to break it down frame by frame and find out what's going on. That's next Tuesday. You do not want to miss it. All right, let's get back to this family. We're here today with fashion model Blake, whose mom Kim, twin brother Chad, and girlfriend Maxie are concerned for his well-being after Blake became obsessed with having the symptoms of schizophrenia and a whole list of other disorders. Dr. Charles Sophie, a board-certified psychiatrist and a member of the Dr. Phil Advisory Board, agreed to see him and just do an evaluation. Take a look at what happened.
So, how are you?
I'm good. A little anxious right now.
Why?
I always get anxiety when I meet with psychiatrists because I always fear the worst.
Are you currently in treatment of any sort?
Yeah, I see an OCD specialist in Arizona.
And are you on medication?
Klonopin, and I take it every day.
Not good. It's a Band-Aid.
I do know that, and it's like a safety thing. I always have to have a Klonopin on me.
So other than this Klonopin, you tried a couple antidepressants.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
My doctor prescribed me a low dose of Abilify. I looked up Abilify, and of course, I saw it treats people with psychosis and schizophrenia, and that scared me to death.
And you thought you had that too then?
The biggest fear I have right now is schizophrenia.
Why?
I was at a restaurant with my mom. I thought I heard like the quickest little whisper in my head say my name. I remember the first thing that came to my mind was schizophrenia. Once I got home, I started Googling symptoms, and ever since then, I've been so obsessed with it.
One hallucination doesn't make a disease necessarily.
I get songs just stuck in my head so easily. For me though, I'm like, I don't know, I just don't think that's normal. I feel this depersonalization, like it's with me like almost every day.
You're torturing yourself, you know that.
Yeah, that's what people are telling me, but I just...
You can't stop it.
I can't stop it.
Yeah, it's
ruining
horrible.
my life.
It is. It's really tough, but there is help for that.
I read that smoking weed could cause schizophrenia, and I did smoke a lot in high school.
Well, I can tell you don't have schizophrenia.
I mean,
Would you feel better if I told you you did?
No.
You sure?
When you say I don't have it, it like almost brings like a sense of calmness in me.
But you won't accept it, because you're going to keep questioning.
But it's hard to sustain.
Well, if you were watching this movie, what would you think?
I would think the person sitting here is a big hypochondriac.
So you're okay with us putting together a treatment plan?
In my mind, my thought process is like, I'm still questioning if I'm being diagnosed right.
We'll start with you getting some blood work, doing the DNA swab of your mouth, maybe talking to your therapist that you've been seeing.
I'm open for all that, so I appreciate you so much.
What was your takeaway from spending time with Blake?
Blake thinks he's sicker than he is, and he likes attention. And he likes to pull everybody's attention so that he gets taken care of instead of him taking care of himself.
Mm-hmm. So you think he's kind of feeding off the reassurance?
Yeah. I think he has to learn how to do it himself, to self-soothe yourself. That's 3/4 of what's going on. Once you believe in you as much as they believe in you, you'll be fine.
So you think he's schizophrenic?
Not today. No, I don't think you are. I think you need to grow up emotionally a little bit.
Would you like to know what I think the bottom line is? Would you like to know what I think the bottom line is?
Yeah.
I think you have a very dysfunctional internal dialogue. Mm-hmm. There is no reality, only perception. There's no good news or bad news. There's just news, and then we decide whether it's good or bad. So your problem, in my opinion, is sum and substance a function of your internal dialogue. You have just been telling yourself a very catastrophic monologue that has you terribly upset. And when you change that, your whole experience of life will change. Yes. Now, there is a whole field of psychology that believes what I just said, and it's called cognitive behavioral therapy. Mm-hmm. I don't think you need anything other than good, ongoing cognitive behavioral therapy to change the conversation that you're having with yourself. And I think when you do that, you will say, I'm in charge of me, I'm changing what I'm telling myself, and I'm not telling you to be a rah-rah cheerleader, I'm just saying test what you say against reality. And if it passes the reality test, embrace it. If it doesn't, hit the eject button. And you have the power to change your experience of life. And I can help make that happen for you. Okay. And if you'll do it, and really get good at it, you'll look back on this in a very short period of time and go, oh my God, there's a few months I can't get back. And this will be over with, not because somebody fixed it for you, but because you exercise mastery over your own life. The only person you control is you. The only person you need to control is you. Dr. Sovey, what do you say?
We all have aches and pains, and we don't all think we have cancer. No. But you go right there for some reason. Some of it is you get attention, and some of it is you're just fearful. You live your life in fear. And we talked about the instance when your dad died, and that whole time that you just emotionally clung to your mother. You've never let go out of fear. And so that's why she's your main reassurer. Yeah. So work through some of these things with the great tools of CBD. You'll be wonderful. Okay. But self-soothe yourself. Yeah.
You know, we learn about ourselves by watching what we do. When you watch yourself master this and tone it down 20%, 20%, 20%, you'll go, wow, I did that. I have the power to control this. Yeah. Then you'll attribute to yourself the competency to control this. And this makes sense to you, I can tell. Yeah. Because as I'm talking about this, your eyes are getting brighter and you're actually sitting up straighter. It's like, I like what I'm hearing here. This is something I can do. Yeah. and you're a competent guy, and you like hearing there's something you can do instead of depending on somebody else.
Yes.
Does this make sense to you?
Yes, it does, 100%.
Can you do this?
I can do this.
Will you do this?
I will do this, yeah. Thank you.
All right, good deal. Now that I've given Blake the tools I believe he needs to live a happier and healthier life, I'm going to do the same for you with important tips you can start using today. That's next. My next guest, Jenna, says, as a professional single woman, living a healthy and active lifestyle is really important to her. Now, she says she wants to always present herself well, and that starts, obviously, with a great smile. Take a look.
I am a pharmaceutical sales rep. In my line of work, a smile is a key attraction when meeting with my customers. It can sometimes help me seal the deal in sales. I also believe health is wealth. Having a healthy smile is definitely a reflection of a healthy lifestyle. I love to smile. I feel that my smile is my best feature. I'm definitely a fanatic when it comes to my teeth, brushing them every morning and evening. I floss daily. I try to take the best care of them as I can. My grandma has always stressed to me the importance of taking great care of my teeth to avoid getting dentures down the road like she had to. My plan is to look and feel young as I age. Brushing my teeth is serious business. I have been using a manual toothbrush all of my life. I feel a little burned out with my oral hygiene routine, and I would be open to trying a new alternative. I definitely want to take my dental health to a new level to keep my smile bright, white, and refreshed.
All right, well, Jenna is joining me along with clinical dental hygienist Deborah Carrier, spokesperson for Oral-B. So welcome, guys. You said health is wealth, so what does that mean to you?
Well, Dr. Phil, what that means to me is having good health is simply priceless. There's no amount of money you can spend to get good health. So it really just comes down to taking good care of your body and your mind to your best ability. How I personally maintain this is by exercising 5 days a week. I also eat a healthy diet. However, I will say that I'm always looking for ways to improve my health routine.
Well, it does sound like you prioritize your healthy lifestyle. Do you ever take time to relax, chill out, slow down?
Between my work schedule, exercising, spending time with family, and taking care of my dog, Charlie, there's really just not enough hours in my day.
That's one of the key elements to really having an overall homeostasis, a balance in your body. And what people don't realize is really small changes add up across time. And even if you take 10 or 15 minutes to relax, that can last for 8 hours throughout your day. Small changes aggregate into big results. So if you'll take even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a couple of times during the day to either kind of meditate or learn a relaxation exercise, makes a huge, huge difference. Is that something you could do?
That's something I struggle with. However, I will say, Dr. Phil, that I strive to have balance in my life. So prioritizing is something I'm always working on.
Yeah, even if you get up a few minutes early in the morning and carve out time for yourself. I know staying healthy is really important to you. And Deborah, I believe you have a suggestion for Jenna.
I do, Dr. Phil. Jenna, you already practice what you preach, but a good way for you to round out your healthy lifestyle is to start and end each day with good oral hygiene. Now, we heard that you always used a manual toothbrush. And when you think about a healthy lifestyle, your toothbrush is probably not the first thing to cross your mind. But using an electric toothbrush is much better for your oral care than a manual toothbrush because it cleans your teeth better. So a few days ago, we sent you an Oral-B Genius rechargeable toothbrush. Did you try it?
Yes, I did, Deborah. And I have to say that I was amazed at how clean my gums and my teeth both felt just on the first try.
That's because the round brush head cups and surrounds each tooth to remove up to 100% more plaque than a manual toothbrush. The built-in pressure sensor ensures that your brushing is gentle on your gums. You can also stay on track with the personalized coaching with their downloadable app.
So are you impressed with it enough that you would toss the manual toothbrush for good?
Yes, Dr. Phil, you'll be happy to know that when I return back to Ohio, I will be tossing my manual toothbrush. My teeth look and feel so much cleaner since I switched to the Oral-B electric toothbrush. And my very favorite part is it actually lets me know when I've brushed for a full 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is really easy for me because I use this, so it's a big deal. And Deborah, you have a gift for Jenna, right?
I do, Jenna. So you can keep up with your new oral care routine. We're going to give you a $100 gift card from Costco because that's where Oral-B products are available.
Thank you.
Right. All right. Look, good oral hygiene is really an investment in your overall health and well-being. And audience, Oral-B wants you to be healthy as well. So you're also going home with a $100 Costco gift card. All right? How about that? I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Deborah Carrier. Thank you so much. I'd also like to thank Dr. Charles Sophie, Los Angeles-based psychiatrist and medical director for the County of Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services. I receive so many questions on social media about our guests or the topics we discuss, but sometimes you ask about me and my life. For example, Lisa Maria Longo asked on Facebook, do you have any hobbies? Well, actually I do. I play tennis probably, what, Robin, 300 days a year?
Every day, yes.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. I do it at home. I do it in charity events and all. Here's an example.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pro Celebrity, Dr. Phil! We welcome Mr. Jordan McGraw! Martina Navratilova!
Yeah, this was a really fun thing we did playing at Chris Everett's charity event down in Florida. It's the Raymond James Pro Celebrity Classic. And they raise money to help at-risk families throughout Florida. So we had a good time playing in this tournament. Listen, I really enjoy reading all of your comments and questions on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So keep them coming. I just might read yours right here on stage. We'll see you next time. Thanks.